And we're live. Welcome back to everybody. We're up and running for this week's game. I am your host, Lantern Noir, aka Rob, usually playing the role of Dungeon Master, and tonight I am proctoring the game, which will be different. Although, as we were saying in the pre-show, the last time I did this mystery was 2017, so I probably won't be able to help much from my memory as it is. So if you came expecting Dungeons & Dragons, I'm slightly sorry, but we're taking a week off from the campaign to let Azteki continue to commune with the Raven Gods, Nebula to figure out if Samara is really a half-elf or a full elf, because half the time she's a half-elf and the other half the time she's a full elf. It depends on which character sheet you look at. And we're letting Adam enjoy time with his family, who are feeling woefully neglected, which is not a good thing going into the holidays. So, when we were talking before we started, we have access to the various resources. We're going to be doing the Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective Case 1. And I think this is the link. That should do it. Yep. And there's a link in the chat to the resources we're using. Are you guys ready to start?
Frederick is ready.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. So, as I mentioned before, this is a choose your own adventure. I'm going to read the passages. You will want to take notes, but I can always go back and reread. At the end of each section, you need to decide where it is you want to investigate. Your tools are the Phone Book of London, which have listed all of the locations, everyone in London, and all of the shops. And they all have a little coded number with them. And then that tells us where I need to read in the book. We also have a full map of London that's on our whiteboard for the game. And you can also determine which of these locales you want to head to based on, well, it's next to the place we should be at, or it's off the street we want to be on. The goal is to complete the mystery in as few stops as possible, because each stop is -5 points. So Sherlock can solve the mystery in 100 points, and every stop you make beyond him is 5 points off that total. So good luck.
Okay.
And then just so you guys know what you're chasing, when my wife and I did this in 2017, we finished with 47 points. So that's your benchmark.
All right.
Are you smarter than two people half drunk on wine? Or are you smarter than Sherlock? Okay. Despite the lateness of the winter, March is still roaring like a lion. In fact, just as we alight from our cabin in front of 221B Baker Street, a derby hat skitters by, propelled by the fierce wind. In close pursuit is none other than Wiggins, chief of the Baker Street Irregulars, and after Dr. Watson, Sherlock Holmes' most able assistant. Before we can join in the chase, Wiggins manages to halt the flying bit of finery with a deft stroke of his umbrella. Cramming it squarely on his head, he saunters back towards us. "Hello," he says cheerfully. "It would appear that Mr. Holmes is expecting the troops. Shall we?" With the point of his umbrella, a very versatile tool it appears, Wiggins stabs the doorbell. It is several moments before Mrs. Hudson answers. After a brief exchange of greetings, she sends us on our way to Holmes's apartment. Above, we find Holmes and Dr. Watson sitting at a table engaged in earnest conversation with a gentleman in his late 40s, expensively dressed yet somewhat rumpled in appearance. "Warm yourselves," says Holmes, "and I will explain my reasons for calling you out on such a bitter morning." Coats and hats are immediately shed. There is a distinct pop as Wiggins removes his derby, and a rush is made for the fireplace. In due course, introductions are made, and the gentleman is identified as Mr. Richard Allen, brother of the late Courtney Allen, president of the Grant Arms Company. "It is the recent death of Mr. Allen's late brother," says Holmes, "that occasions his visit to us. Briefly, Courtney Allen was found shot to death in an alley behind his office on the evening of March 9th at approximately 7 p.m. by the constable on patrol. Scotland Yard has put the crime down as a simple robbery by person or persons unknown, largely due to the fact that the victim's wallet was found empty near the body and his gold pocket watch was missing. Mr. Allen was just telling us a bit about his brother when you arrived. Please continue, Mr. Allen. Well, Courtney was a dynamic individual, always busy, forever on the move. Yet, he had a unique ability to make 10 minutes spent with you seem like an hour. So complete was his attention to you. Of course, his charm worked like a magic potion on the ladies. You said he was married, asks Watson with a raised eyebrow. Oh yes, poor Beatrice. Was he involved in an affair at the time of his death? Asks Wiggins. Yes, I believe he was, but I have no clue as to who the lady might have been. You see, the night before he was killed, I popped round to his office at about 5:30 and managed to coax him to supper at Keen's. We were there but a short while when Courtney begged to leave. He indicated that he had an important meeting, said Auf Wiedersehen, and winked. That wink meant a woman. Is the company financially sound? Asks Watson. Oh, quite. And a fine investment for anyone's portfolio. You see, the company was founded as a small gun shop some 70-odd years ago by our great-uncle Thaddeus Grant. It catered to a very elite clientele. Most of the chaps in the regiment were equipped with pistols from Grant's, nods Watson. Why, Baxton? You've heard me speak of Baxton. Holmes? He had a pair of the finest dueling pistols. Yes, Watson, pray continue, Mr. Allen. Courtney, always fascinated by firearms, apprenticed himself to Uncle Thaddeus. When Thaddeus died in 1873, he bequeathed the business to Courtney. While maintaining the original shop and its tradition, Courtney expanded into the international arms trade. With loans and the sale of public stock, he was able to build a plant at 12 Deverell Street for the manufacturer of heavy ordnance. Today, the firm is debt-free and very profitable. Of course, a drop in the share price occurred with the news of my brother's death. Who has ascended to the presidency? Asks Watson. Courtney's picked successor, Philip Marlowe, the second vice president. And why not the senior vice president? Young Lord Ragland, who runs the Deverell Street plant, is a brilliant technician, but a most inept businessman. And who inherits your brother's stock? His wife, Beatrice. Now I think we might examine the effects found with your brother. So saying, Holmes turns his attentions to the briefcase. Yes, it's practically brand new. I gave it to Courtney for his last birthday, January 6th. As you can see, it is locked. The police found it that way. Courtney kept a key on a chain attached to his watch fob. The watch, of course, was stolen. Holmes retrieves a long piece of wire from the coal scuttle. After gaining Allen's permission, he inserts it into the lock and with a quick flick of his wrist, springs the lock open. He pulls out 2 folders for our examination. I'll put these back up on the screen. There we are. Each is filled with company papers and is coded to indicate its contents. One marked MBC, for instance, concerns various coal mine leases. Another marked S87V contains a listing of sales to the U.S. government during the preceding year. I take that back. It's S87U to the U.S. government during the preceding year. I hate this font. Holmes then empties the contents of the envelope onto the table. The inventory contains spectacles, a case, a ruby ring, a gold wedding band, a keychain with keys, an empty wallet, a small notebook, and a note. Seizing the notebook, Holmes observes, "Can you tell us who Captain Egan might be, Mr. Allen? I've never heard the name." And Billy. Billy is Courtney's secretary, William Limpart. Holmes compares the writing in the notebook with that of the note. They appear to be identical. He nods and says, "I believe we have enough to begin our investigation." After Allen has gone, Wiggins comments that his hand gestures were most intriguing. Combining infinite subtlety with tremendous force, it is easy to imagine that he has no trouble making his wishes known on the floor of the London Stock Exchange. I don't recall Alan giving out his occupation, says Watson, puzzled. No, replies Wiggins, but certain phrases he spoke, coupled with the penciled notations on his left shirt cuff, stock prices surely, led me to conclude that he was a stockbroker. Bravo, Wiggins. Well, Watson, our young man has come a long way since the days when you described him as a dirty little sea urchin, eh? Thank you, Mr. Holmes, but after all, I was taught by the master. True, says Holmes matter-of-factory. Quite true. And there you begin. You have...
Can you do me a favor real quick before we continue? Can you reread what came out of the briefcase that wasn't the two folders? It was like a ruby ring, a wedding band, an empty wallet. And then I was still writing.
Yep. The bag.
A notebook. Isn't there keys?
Yes.
And a notebook.
It was fold out contents. The contents of the envelope were a ruby ring, spectacles in a case, a gold wedding band, a keychain with keys, the empty wallet, a small notebook, and a note. And I believe these are the... The effects that were on him. The briefcase and a large brown envelope. So the briefcase was full of those papers, and then the envelope came from the police as the effects that were on him at the time of his demise.
And who gave him the watch?
The watch has been stolen, and was it a gift?
And that...
Yeah, it was a gift from the brother. No, sorry. I'm getting that confused. The briefcase was a gift from the brother.
Yes. We did not know who gave him the watch, I don't think, but he did have the key to his briefcase on the watch fob.
On the watch.
Yep.
So there were two names mentioned after the description. It was Billy, the secretary, and what was the other name?
There's Billy, a.k.a. William Limbart, is his secretary. Captain Egan, we don't know. And then the other name mentioned besides the deceased is the new president, Philip Marlowe. And the senior vice president, who's not a businessman, is Lord Ragland. Brilliant technician, but a most inept businessman. As is unfortunate.
Only so many points you can spend on that, all right.
Yes, you must be diligent with where you put those points.
So, can we read the note? Is that allowed?
Yeah. The notes are what I have on the whiteboard right now. There's Bishop's F 8:30 p.m. Billy's mother's birthday for March 8th. March 9th, plant 8 a.m. Surprise. Captain Egan 8:30 p.m. On Saturday, March 10th, it looks like it says Brixton's Mine. Brixton's Mine.
Mine, yeah, I'm guessing that's the mine from the briefcase.
And then U.S. Embassy 3 p.m. There's a note here from Clark & Sons Hatter in Chelsea. 1 Victoria hat. And this SP10 Spaniard tonight, 10 p.m. Signed A.M. Those are all provided as part of your starting stuff.
It's the 9th today?
Today is the 12th of March.
Oh, today's the 12th. Okay.
Today is the 12th. Let me do a quick thing over here while you guys are musing, and feel free to yap for a
Died
bit.
on the 9th.
if you have a preference or thought.
So a Victoria hat is probably a kind of hat, right? Not somebody's hat.
Question.
I would imagine, because it says one Victoria hat, right?
I can Google Victoria hat.
No.
Googling.
Oh, that may lead to hints and stuff. I just want to bring up a picture of a Victoria hat.
I'll take care of that.
I'm not trying to get.
I'll do that.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to solve it on the first move.
Oh, I did that with
Sherlock. I got Google right here.
the Secret World MMO was nefarious for doing a bad job at separating its solve it using the internet and people just posting spoilers. It was a clever idea, but man, it did not work. But I'll pull up a Victoria hat in a second.
World.
Okay, let me Google it. And I'll
So
find...
is the thing with Captain Egan on the 9th, was that 8:30 p.m. or a.m.? I'm guessing p.m. I'm trying to figure out if he was killed at 7. So would have been before meeting with Captain Egan or after? It's a hard font to read.
He was found at...
Just found
let's see.
at 7 p.m., right? On the 9th?
The constable found him at 7 p.m., so he died before that. And that was on...
The 9th.
Yes, March 9th at approximately 7 p.m. So he had meetings the next day.
He did not get to him. I wonder what the Spaniard tonight at 10 was, who the Spaniard is.
Let's see, is there a place called the Spaniard?
Oh, that's a good question.
I'm looking now. There's the Spanish Embassy. There's the Spaniards Inn. There's a Spanish synagogue. Who knew?
The inn sounds like the right place, right? That's where you go at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, that's true.
Inn? Yes, it is an inn. Spaniards, I see.
That could be his lady friend.
Spaniards is an inn located at on the map at 25 Southwest SW.
Oops. 25.
That was 10 p.m.
Should we try that? Or the Hatter. Assuming the Hatter would be a clue too.
There is also the scene of the
Chelsea
crime.
Hatter? Is that nearby?
Should probably go there first.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Egan, I'm guessing Captain Egan is John Egan. That's also a place we can go to.
Okay. Yeah, so the Spaniards. I found where the Spaniards is. Alright, where was the crime scene?
It was outside of the shop. So wherever, let's see, these are the Grant
Was
Arms
the shop
Company.
on Severn?
Grant Arms
Something
Company is somewhere. Let's see, Grant Arms.
It was 12 something street, but I wrote too quickly and can't read my own writing.
I'm guessing it's like if we scroll through the bottom of the phone book, we'll find it.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, the phone book has it.
It's
listed.
5 EC. Grant Arms Company, correct?
EC. Sounds right. Let's see. EC5 is... And of course the numbers have no scheme to them. They're just scattered. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, There's 5. So it's and he was found behind. Where was he found?
Behind in the alley.
In the alley behind his office.
So maybe like right here? Is that an alley? Because like Old Street, that'd be a street, right? So probably like right here.
Yeah, it's probably that little gap there between off Old Street. So you need to figure out where you need to make an official ruling where you want to go.
Okay.
What you guys think? We should probably make a list of the places we want to go.
Right.
So I'm gonna start one. So scene of the crime.
Yeah, scene of the crime. I think this. I don't know.
The Spaniard
Spaniards.
also.
Yeah.
Should we try the hat shop? Because he had the ticket for the hat shop. I don't know if that'll give us a clue or not.
Yeah, at least get us some information.
What about the wife?
Exactly, the wife would be a good one.
Yeah, I definitely think we should talk to her.
It's always the wife.
And then
Often.
Captain Egan
Okay.
was where he was going. He never made it there, though.
Egan. There's a John Egan in the phone book.
That's who I was thinking it was.
I really don't remember this mystery.
We could leave that low on priority because we're not even sure if that's him.
Right.
So right now I have the scene, the Spaniard, the hat shop, and the wife, and then Egan at the very bottom.
Oh, I also put down the office.
This
Like-
the office was the scene of the crime.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's
I thought the crime scene was behind the office. And I don't know if there's a
that's
But-
true,
difference.
Is it different? Question mark.
I don't think it is. Because I think 5EC, that's what we said the grant company was.
right.
Yeah.
I don't think there's something separate for 75 EC. There might be, but that would be like investigating quote across the street. There's no set location for the alleyways.
Right.
Okay. I kind of wondered if it was this. Should we? In the newspaper, I looked. If that's okay, I looked at the first newspaper, and there is talk about the Wimbledon meeting, which is a competition for the Queen's Prize, which is shooting, and a lot of the people that were mentioned are on it. Well, Phil Marlowe and I thought there was more. There's a couple of people that are mentioned in there, so that might be a good place to check out. I don't know. And it's the 12th, which is today.
Yes. This is the morning paper for today.
Right, so that talks about it's tells their scores for shooting, which might be important.
Yeah, I'll have to see if they missed.
Yeah, if they shot him the first time, or we don't have any idea
Scene
what
of the
gun
crime,
he was
it
shot
sounds
with.
like scene of the crime sounds like we need more information, right? Does that sound good for everybody?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah,
I
we
think so.
do not have ballistics in the late 19th century.
Right.
There is no Abbey Shuto to call.
Well, it would be Sherlock, but we're trying to beat him, so we'll get to call him.
Okay, 5EC. Is that the final decision?
Yeah.
Okay, well, here's
I'm
the
good
good
with that.
news. It is a huge block of text. So you must have done something right.
Yay.
The worst is when you're sure you're going to the right location and you flip to it and there's like a sentence. And then you're like,
And then you're like, red.
crap. Okay, hang on, let me... Where do I want... I'm going to just do this on the whiteboard. Make a note to us. Just before I read it. So, stop number 1. You went to EC 5. Okay. The other good news, I can always go back and reread the ones you've visited. Because just in case we miss stuff. I don't want us to lose because you just forgot something from a location and want to go back.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
By prearrangement, we meet Constable Beadle behind the Grant Arms Company in the alley parallel to Leonard Street. I noticed a strange lump in the alley. I knew right off that something was amiss. My instinct for the out of place, you might say. Watch your step there. The cobbling hereabouts is in a bad way. Many a jagged edge just made for tripping a man. We strolled 30 feet or so from the base of a stairway that leads to the offices of Grant Arms to arrive at the juncture of a T formed with another alley that leads to Old Street. It was right here, and sad to say, it was not a lump at all. Now the victim was lying on his back, the force of the bullet having thrown him backwards. The briefcase was lying right beside the body, waist high. The wallet was lying a few feet away. The victim's overcoat was thrown open, and his pocket watch was missing. But part of the chain was still attached to the vest. He was quite dead, but there was still some warmth in his bare hands, so I couldn't have missed the blighter by much. Now, I figure the perpetrator must have hid in that shed just up in this second alley. When the victim approached, he jumped out and fired point blank. As you can see, it's but 5 feet from the shed to where the body lay. We thank Constable Beadle for his time and trouble. He goes back on patrol, but we linger a moment longer at the scene. From the shed, Wiggins calls to us. Seems both Scotland Yard and our perpetrator have been quite careless. His open palm reveals the remains of a cigarette. On it are the letters B and H in gold leaf. The tip end is pinched evenly all around. Beaming, Wiggins suggests that we adjourn to the offices of Grant Arms Company to interview Alan's private secretary. Our unorthodox means of entry via the back stairway startles a young man we meet in the corridor. Fair-haired and pleasant-featured, he turns out to be William Linhart. After introductions are made and we are seated in Linhart's office, Wiggins asks him a question that has been nagging at all of us since the beginning. What was Mr. Allen doing in the alley? Anytime he worked after hours, which was often, he would leave by the back way. It was a short walk to Old Street where the traffic was heavier and a cab more likely to be hailed. So anyone who had a passing knowledge of Mr. Allen's habits, company employees or even business acquaintances, would certainly have been aware of that practice. Yes, that's so. That evening, Mr. Allen was scheduled to meet with Captain Egan at 8:30. Can you tell us who Captain Egan is? Oh, he is the ordnance officer in charge of purchasing for the Admiralty. Do you know what the meeting was about? He and Mr. Allen met often to discuss the special project undertaken for the Admiralty some months ago, but I was unaware of that particular meeting. Mr. Allen regularly delivered progress reports, but always during the day, and I always made the appointments. I remember that Mr. Allen asked me to put SP number 10A into his briefcase. It surprised me, because I was not aware of an appointment with Captain Egan. Could you tell us about the special project? It was very secret, but I suppose I could say that it involves the development of a new type of naval gun. Were there problems with the project? None that I'm aware of. Mr. Allen was very concerned about security, though. While we do sell arms to foreign powers, there are certain weapons that are reserved exclusively for our own government. Special project number 10A was one such. Was Mr. Allen's concern over security based on a specific incident or centered on a specific person? The existence of the project was common knowledge, so I'm sure he expected a certain amount of, spying. He called in Lord Raglan to discuss the matter after several strange people were seen hanging around the Deverell Street plant. Why would the plant be under surveillance? All the technical data, blueprints, formulas, that type of thing are housed there. Our offices here are merely administrative. Mr. Allen's brother believes he was having an affair at the time of his death. Really realizing this might be a delicate matter, would you know who the lady might have been? No, I don't. Over the years, I have always known about Mr. Allen's peccadillos, but only in the most general way. We would be working and something would trigger a cryptic remark that obviously had to do with his personal life. For example, just after the International Arms Fair opened, he received a scented letter on pink stationery. Later that day, he was dictating a memo to Lord Raglan when he stopped and picked it up. He took a full whiff of it and said aloud, "Women often marry for a title, but they won't necessarily fall in love for one." Then he laughed and went on with the memo. "You're now secretary to the new president, Mr. Marlowe?" Yes, he was Mr. Allen's handpicked successor, which perfectly illustrates the kind of man Mr. Allen was. There was no love lost between them, and yet, recognizing Marlowe's outstanding business acumen, he named him as his heir, so to speak. Well, thank you, Mr. Linhart. You've been very helpful.
So they didn't really like each other? Is that what I'm gleaning from that last statement?
I think that's what no love lost means.
Seems like it was very matter of fact. Like, they were business partners. That was like that's my takeaway.
I'm wondering if the the mention of the special Project 10 refers to that note from the other page, and if the Spaniard wasn't a foreign person that he was going to meet with instead of a place, or if he was meeting, or it brings us back to the inn, the Spaniard inn.
Ooh, SP10.
Yep. I don't know who AM is. I think that's the initials at the bottom there.
I'm looking. I think that's his M, because if you look at the M on AM,
Oh,
and
okay.
you look at the M on Mother,
Mm-hmm.
he has
Yeah.
a very loopy M.
Yeah.
So that looks like that's 10 p.m. for the meeting, signed AM.
Did I miss who AM is?
Have we had an AM yet?
I don't
I
think
don't
so.
think so.
What's Mr. Marlowe's? That's Philip Marlowe. That's not
Philip.
a P.
Yeah, it's Philip.
And we have the Deverell
So,
Street plant that keeps getting mentioned.
Yep. That might be a good place to... And it was being under surveillance?
Yes, by strange people.
Though I'm
It
not
seems like the logical choice to go there next.
Do that.
So I don't know where Deverell Street is.
Let's see if we can find it.
It's a big map.
It's the Deverell Street plant, right? To be
Yes.
to the factory.
And is there anything with... Maybe there's a Grant Arms. This is the offices for Grant Arms. Be nice if Grant Arms had a factory listing.
Yeah. That'd be easy.
What else are we thinking?
Did we want to try the hotel or the inn and see if that... We had that on our list,
Sounds like a good place to look at.
and that might be
Definitely on the
that might
list.
reference the note too.
Right. We may find something else about that note.
The factory, I'm not seeing like a listing for factories.
Yeah.
I wish I had some way to... Like, I can... Because I have the book in front of me, I can see where it is. I'm just trying to figure out how you're supposed to know that, if you're supposed to know that yet. Because no one's giving you an address yet.
No, just Deverell Street.
Yeah. Which would be nice, again, if there was some kind of a nice, easy, like... go with it. Unless we can find Deverell. Is there a Deverell Street near the offices? Are we that lucky?
Probably not.
Not close enough that it pops out easily.
Yeah.
Where was the hotel in relation to this? Do we know?
The Spaniard Inn?
Yeah. Sorry, the inn.
Under...
It's all the way on the left, like, bottom of the map.
Oh, gotcha.
It's number 25 in the southwest quadrant.
Luckily for us, we don't have to worry about travel time. So if we wanted to check it out, we
Just
could
make it helpful.
teleport over there.
Well, it is London. You just hail a cab. Whoa, it
Well,
really
there's a
we'll just
couple
run
of-
across
that.
the roofs and jump from building to building. It'll be fine.
What was that, Azteki?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, what's up?
I did check the phone book for under the initials AM, and there's a couple of people there that have the initials AM.
Who are we looking at?
What? You're saying that just because I looked through the AM.
I thought about doing it. He beat me to it.
Well, no, I mean...
Fine,
so
I'll look
how
at
many of them
MAs
are there?
too.
I looked at MAs.
Oh,
There
you
was
did?
3.
Oh, okay. We all had the same idea.
We
It
all,
must be right.
we all know who this is.
Uh,
Well, although a trip to the
alright.
Spaniard might also get you that information too. And that's just...
Yeah.
Right. So, I don't know.
I
I
feel
mean,
like Spaniard first, and then we can keep looking at who's AM left.
right. That's another thing.
Is there like different dialogue if you revisit the same place, or is every place like one and you're done?
It's a one and done.
Okay.
Yeah. So once you've been there, you've been there. By the way, if you look down by the compass rose, there is a Deverell Street.
Sorry.
Oh, there is Deverell Street. Yeah, I see it.
Oh, okay.
And there's not a lot of Deverell Street, so that kind of narrows down exactly
No,
where
yeah.
the plant would have to be.
It'd be number 12.
Ah, okay. I also like, as an aside, how close the embassies are to the Spanish inn. I think we're talking about going to the embassies, but if we needed to.
Oh, those are all the
I don't
embassies
know.
there?
Yeah, if you go just past Victoria Station, there's Spanish Embassy, Carlton House, Grosvenor Hotel, Russian Embassy. That I'm assuming that's military assignment.
Let's see. American
Maybe
is
it's not all of them.
18. Well, they're all down that. Yeah, there's the American Embassy there. Yeah, there's a lot down that
So
way.
they're all kind of in that area. 'Cause he had the appointment at the American Embassy,
Mm-hmm. French is 59.
although he didn't keep it because that was Saturday. So
Yes, he was dead before he could get there. An unfortunate development.
But if it's all kind of about arms and stuff for the Admiralty or the Ordnance, sorry, then the fact that he was killed before going to the embassy might be important.
Mhm. All valid observations.
Oh, should we try the plant or the inn?
I say we go to the Spaniard first.
Okay. Sounds
Yeah, I'm always down for the inns.
Let's get some of that infinite wine and cheese. Right?
Yeah, and
good.
sticky buns.
Isn't
They don't.
the running joke that Watson's always hungry too? We've always gotta feed him.
And they did that with Ocean's 11. Brad Pitt made that a goal for his character. That he would always
Yep,
be
he was
eating
always eating something.
and always junk food.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yep, nachos and cheese, Twinkies, Snickers. Okay, so we're going now.
It definitely made it feel more real, even though the movie was so surreal.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so you guys are committed now to your second stop is at. Where are we going?
Spaniard Inn.
Spaniard Inn, which is 25. This is the. Where is it? Inn. Spaniard's Inn. 25 Southwest. Southwest 25. Okay. That's down. Let's see what you guys find. Okay. Southwest 25. Here we go. Looks like it was a good call. The proprietor of the Spaniards Inn is a most cooperative fellow for a small consideration. While he consults his records, we wait at the bar sipping a glass of beer. Two gentlemen with the initials AM reserved private rooms on the evening of March 9th. He tells us when he returns. Alexander Mishkin and Anthony Mariano. Can you tell us how to get in touch with them? I've never seen either man before or since. Can you describe them? Well, that's as may be. March 9th was some days ago. Again, we grease his palm. It never ceases to amaze us how effectively a quid can jar a memory. Alexander Mishkin was a giant of a fellow. He walked in with a slight limp and spoke with an accent. He arrived at 8:30 and ordered supper. An English gentleman, about 30, I would say, joined him later. Also, both Mishkin and the Englishman carried identical briefcases. Curiously enough, Anthony Mariano also ate alone and was joined by another man. His reservation was for 9 o'clock. Could you describe Mariano? Oh, he was about the same age as the Englishman, 30-ish. Swarthy, shifty eyes, medium height. We thank him for his information and start to leave, but he reminds us that we have not paid for our drinks. But then again, he adds, catching the black look Wiggins throws at him and the jingling the coins in his hand. Suppose we just call it even.
So we don't know if the same Englishman met with both of them. Just that they were both met by somebody.
They're both
I
met
think
by...
you would have mentioned if it was the same guy.
Right. So Michigan came in at 8:30, and someone joined him later, and they had identical briefcases. Mirano was alone. He came in at 9.
They both had time for it.
They both had what?
They both had time for it.
Yeah.
Although, remember the distance across town here.
Oh, right. It's pretty far.
But if he was found at 7, that would have been over an hour and a half.
And cab.
Because he was found at 7, not this. Well, yeah.
It must have been pretty recent, though. He said he still had warmth in his hands.
Right. So what if somebody killed him and stole his briefcase, and that was what got swapped around at the inn?
It's possible, but the file that was in the briefcase was the file that he had asked the secretary for.
That's true. Okay, so we don't know which of those are AM.
Yeah, there's definitely something funny going on there.
Yep. Well, and the note said meet at 10 by AM. So neither of those times really work either.
What time did the note say?
The note said
10 p.m.
special project 10, Spaniard tonight 10 p.m. firm AM. Unless there was a third AM, which that doesn't make sense.
Well, he might just not have had a reservation.
True.
But that's like probably not it.
I guess if he was planning to meet him at 10, because I'm sorry. The innkeeper didn't say if Anthony Minato was met with somebody, just that he showed up at 9.
He said he did meet someone later, though. He was also joined later.
Okay, he was also joined later. Sorry.
Just joined later by somebody, right?
Yep. I'm thinking that one leans more towards a note. That means where is he at?
I still think we should go to the street plant first.
That makes sense.
Where are we gonna go?
The what's it called?
The Deverell
The
Street
plant.
plant?
Deverell Street plant, yeah. Which is over in 12. I'm guessing.
What? Why do we want to go there?
It was being watched by people, and it was brought up when we were visiting the office / scene of the crime.
Okay.
Yeah.
We also have the cigarette to follow up on.
Yeah.
We have the cigarette, we have the wife, the hat shop, and Egan.
Right.
BH was the gold leaf on the cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
BH. I believe the phone book has listed a tobaccoist, Benson and Hedges.
Excellent.
Quite a few tobacconists, actually, in town.
It was the thing to do, right?
True.
It's healthy to smoke.
It's got vitamin C in it and stuff.
Relaxes you, makes you healthy. When they were still
4 out of 5
doing
doctors
ads to
prefer
your children.
camels.
Yeah.
This was even before that, so...
I was trying to see if either of our AMs were in the phone book, but I'm not seeing them. Unless spelling them really poorly.
Mariano is in there.
Is it MAR?
MAR, yeah.
I was just spelling it really poorly.
And Mishkin,
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking. He does not appear to be in here. Because Mishkin, I think, is MISH.
Oh, okay.
So,
So I'm gonna think maybe Anthony Mariano, maybe if the tobacconist can recognize him or something. I'm thinking he might be our bigger lead because he's.
Yeah, I think that's
Something we can follow up on.
To go.
Should we try tobacconist first then? See about the cigarette, or should we go to the plant? We want to go to the Deverell Street plant first.
I think the tobacconist is a good lead because it was an expensive cigarette. It was gold leaf.
Well, yeah. Plus, it was in the the scene of the crime. It was found. So I think that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, and maybe we'll be able. Maybe if it was at the Deverell Street plant, if it was one of the guys watching as well, we might see that there too.
Right.
All right. Cool. So
Let's have the tobacconist first. See if they can get us any more information.
Okay.
Yep. I think that's the way to go.
Grab some of those fancy doctor-ordered cigarettes.
okay, I just remembered that I forgot something.
Okay.
Okay.
We also have a list of regular people from London that you can call upon for advice.
Oh.
So these are a few other people you should consider. I'm just going to tell you their roles, and I'll have it handy at any time I can refer to it. I completely forgot that we had this as an option. So, but we're only an hour in, so it's not like we spent too much time not having. Anyway, you can go see the coroner. You can see a professional criminologist. You can go to Scotland Yard. You can go to the National Archives. You can go to the Archives of Birth, Deaths, and Marriages and Wills. So there's the old legal documents or the general, like, certificate office. There's a lawyer at the Old Baileys you can talk to. There's the owner of the Raven and Rat Tavern, who knows about legal affairs. There's a member of the Criminal Underground. Journalist at the London Times. Journalist at the Police Gazette. You can always visit Mycroft. There's a society columnist who knows gossip. You can go to the Central Carriage Stables to talk to the cabbies. The London Library. Or, if you're really stuck, you can talk to Sherlock himself.
Oh, cool.
So just kind of file that away if you feel like you think you want to follow up with any of those. My money says relevant to this case might be either the coroner or to check his will.
Yeah, I was gonna say the coroner would be a good one.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
I'm just putting those there as like other things to think about, not to sway anybody in any direction, because again, I have no recollection as to where we're going.
I didn't even.
Right.
Yeah, coroner would be good, but I say we check the tobacconist first because we were pretty confident on that, and then if we don't know where to go, we can go to the coroner after that. But we also
Yeah, sounds good.
wanted to go check out the factory too, so
Yeah.
we got a couple other leads first.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so lead
That
number
sounds good.
3, you're committing to the tobacconist, eh?
Yeah.
All right, lead number 3 is off to Benson and Hedges, 16 Northwest. Northwest, 16. I think my whiteboard is fully lagging out on the amount of stuff stored on it. All right, 16 Northwest. Aha! A salesman identifies a cigarette. Let me start that over. A salesman identifies the cigarette end as that of a Benson and Hedges Imperial. That is quite an expensive blend of Turkish and Virginia tobaccos. Very strong, yet very smooth. It's not a cigarette for the casual smoker, but rather for a connoisseur. Imperials are made to order, are they not? Oh, but of course. The Imperial is a relatively new brand, and the client list is very small and exclusive. May we see that list? The salesman reaches under the counter and pulls out a small ledger. The list has 12 names. Give me a second. I'm going to put it up here I'll put this down for you to reference because it's another visual aid. And then I'll run down the list. Find the file. Pop. There it is. And then I'll shrink it down so it actually fits on the screen. There we go. So, on the list are featured Harry Higgins, Sir Clayton Partridge, Lord Henry Ragland, Gregory Cardiff, Chester Casely, Richard Meinhardt, Emile Lobar, Montgomery Eustace, Comte von Schlumberg, Rudolph Noble, Gilbert Welch, and Richard Camp.
Only one name on there is important to us. I wonder which one.
I know.
Henry Higgins? He is in the phone book.
No, he does stuff with language.
I will say he is in
I guess
here.
it was the same time, wasn't it?
Yes.
He made a comment. There was something in his notebook about falling in love with a noblewoman, right? Or so I wondered if, like, the Lord might be important, but he was having an affair with somebody's wife.
Yeah, he
He
made
was
the
noble.
comment that people marry for women marry for titles, but not for love.
Oh, right.
Ooh, saucy. Well, suspected saucy.
Yes.
And it's all alleged. Nothing's proven yet.
Time. Yeah, it's all alleged.
I guess.
Right.
Okay, so now I'm like, we really should visit Henry Raglan's house.
I think Henry Raglan, because he's the Lord. That's kind of what I was leaning towards. Trying to figure out if any of them might have been in the shooting competition. Got nothing.
Raylan's in the phone book. The shooting
Oh, so-
competition.
In the shooting
included-
competition, the newspaper, Emile Zobar, or Lobar, however you say it,
Oh, Zobar, yeah.
Zobar,
That was just a weird.
was included in it.
Hmm.
None of the other ones, I don't think. No. Don't know if it's tied together, but it doesn't mean he's a good shot.
Count von Schlumberg is in there
Count
too.
von Schlauber, yeah. Sir Clayton Partridge.
I
Got a lot of
suddenly feel
marksmen.
very bad for like Private Hollis. Like, could you imagine the stress? Like, you're this private, this kid, and you're in the shooting competition with like Count von
Lord,
Schlossberg,
the captain.
and
Well, he must be really good. They probably invited him because they knew he was good. It's probably an honor more than a. I mean, yeah, he'd be stressed out. But
yeah,
True,
or
true.
Corporal Simcock of the Second Cheshire. It's like Corporal is not
Yeah.
much above private in this time. That's like
yeah, but like
private's over
that
30.
guy's like an amazing shot, right?
Still,
He
like,
got the best score out of everybody.
He really did. Well,
Yeah.
not quite the best, but the Corporal did, yeah.
but out of those top,
I don't know, Private Hollis isn't too bad.
no. But again, there's
I mean, they were
three.
invited for being cool, I think.
Everyone else there is moneyed. That had to be. This is totally off
They're
topic,
just,
but that had to be an
mad skill.
awkward thing.
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out what the bullet points things down below mean. Partridge 34, Kent 34, Schlumberg 33. He did. I mean, they showed his thing, so it must have been impressive.
Yes.
It's
guess.
weird that they have two different kinds of point systems there.
This is from the first stage, so it must have been different.
Oh, so one is
stages.
total and one's the. Yeah, one's probably the stage they just did, and then one was total of all the stages they've done up to that point.
Mm.
Plus, this newspaper could have something to do with a different case, right? It doesn't only have to be for this case.
Yes and no. This is the day's paper. So if there's going to be anything relevant to this case, it would be in today's
This
paper.
paper.
I mean, it could be relevant, because depending on, if somebody shot him in like a precise spot, they had to have been a good shot,
Yeah. But there was nothing that said in the alley, there was nothing that indicated there were missed shots.
But it did sound
Right.
like they shot him from 5 feet away.
True, which isn't really
It
that far.
didn't need to be a good shot.
It
That's
makes
true.
me kind of want to discount the what's his name? Raglan? No, wait, Raglan's not in the competition. Is
Or
he?
Raglan?
No,
No.
Okay.
Schlumberg? Is that who it is?
Marlowe, I would discount from the as a suspect. Well, we already
yeah,
ruled him out because a marksman.
Yeah,
is
because
not.
he's probably in it because it's the gun company, and it's going to look good if he's good and involved in the
Right.
shooting. It's good advertising.
I'm thinking too, a marksman's not going to shoot a guy at point blank range.
no, exactly.
No.
That feels very. Although,
Unsporting.
side note, if you flip the paper onto page 2, so if you go below the fold, there's an article about the arms trade fair.
Right.
And we have,
Yesterday after 21 gun suit.
yeah, there's a lot of names
there's
in there.
Countess von Schulenberg or whatever. I don't know who that is.
Schulenberg, yeah. Whose husband was in the shooting thing and is on the list.
Right.
And she's on
But
the
also
list.
talks about
Yeah, and
Emil
she's on
Zobar. Gold
Mhm.
medal was awarded to him.
And there's your Alexei Meshkov, Russian military attaché.
Oh, yeah.
Hit by a tomato.
That would be a dex check.
Well, but he's got a limp, so he couldn't make it.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, it's Meshkov with an E, not an I. He is in the phone book.
Meshkov and not Mishkov.
Oh.
Meshkov.
Yeah.
That could either be
Yeah, I totally spelled that wrong.
my reading or their
I
typing.
mean, we're spelling it out. They're spelling it a different alphabet, so it's whatever.
And he's not at the Russian embassy, according to this, which is interesting. Side note, the third case has so many typos in it that they actually re-released the game book for it as a free download.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, wow.
Because it is that bad.
Oof.
Yeah, it's kind of what I was like. We struggled through it. We did it with the original because we forgot to download the update, but we did get through it. So, okay. So now what? Do we have a suspect and a motive?
I think it was still the plans because he was talking about new armament, right? Although if it was about an affair in the plans, it could be the Count. Did we want to
she's
still
on
go
this
by
too.
the... I'm sorry. What?
No, go ahead.
Oh, I interrupted somebody.
Oh, I was gonna say I'm completely lost.
Just ask the Raven.
Yeah,
Oh, there
right.
you go,
That's
yeah.
the Raven for guidance.
Make a wisdom check, and we'll.
I'd like to sense the dead.
I think that counts as going to the coroner, right?
Yeah, that would do it.
Do you want to check out the Deverell Street, or would we like to check out the corner?
So, well,
Coroner can
before
tell
we
us,
continue, Lord Ragland was the vice president and now doesn't get the company, which is very weird.
That's
He
true.
was on the list. Well, he doesn't get anything out of it because he wasn't, set to be the president. Although he may have taken it personally, I'm not sure.
Was he
Guesses.
the one that he was dealing with for the armament for the military? Or do I have that wrong?
He was the one that he went and talked to about the people watching the factory.
Right. Would he be a good one to go talk to? Do we think?
Yeah, it sounds like it because we've got
Does he know about the
things that are
arms and the
connected to him right
factory?
now.
And he might know about why it didn't get willed to him, but it did go to... He might be able to talk about the will and the arms and the factory being...
Well, if we want to learn about the
Observed.
will, we definitely should go to the records, right? Is that records would have that info?
So the records are
Records, or would it be? I think lawyer Bill Bailey, right?
Yeah, that would make sense to me. We could go do the basically go to probate, which would be the Somerset House, and see if there's anything relevant there. we've checked we haven't checked the factory. We haven't followed up with do we have a likely suspect? I guess is the big thing I'm thinking.
We want to check up with our suspect first, or?
It's literally all circumstantial, though. Like, we should check out the
Yeah.
we should check out the probate first, I think. Let's see about the will, right? Because the one person was named successor, as what we were told.
Right.
We don't know that to be fact.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I agree. Should see who ended up in the will.
Okay. Somerset House it is. Stop number 4. Which you guys have only made, this is only your 4th stop so far. So that West Central 17.
17, okay, West Central.
Let's see here. West Central 17. Southwest, Southeast.
Because Frederick, this is what Frederick does for a living. He's like totally tuned in.
Okay. So, the clerk at
Okay.
Somerset House finds for us Courtney Allen's will. It is short and to the point. He bequeathed his entire estate, which included a large block of Grant Arms Company stock, some property, and over 60 pounds in notes to his wife, Beatrice.
Beatrice is looking better and better every time.
Definitely still in the running.
Yeah, but the cigarette thing doesn't really line up for her.
That's why I keep thinking, who on this list is probably the person?
I kind of like Lord Raglan.
Yeah, I mean, at least he would be able to tell us some stuff about what's going on at the plant, right? Because we wanted to go to the plant anyway, and he could, in case we're wrong about where the plant is, he could tell us where it was.
That's true. He's just in a number of, like, he's in the company, and he's, I don't know where I was going with it. Oh, and the Admiralty stuff, and oh,
It sounds like that's where y'all want to go.
Let's go.
cool.
All right, see if Raglan has a little more for us. And Raglan is, according to the book, at
56 Southwest.
Southwest 56. Stop number 5. Okay. Let's see what we got here. ECWC, NW, SW, what?
56.
56. Okay.
Up part by the gardens.
Oh, you're looking up where it is? All right, here we go.
Oh yeah, on the map.
Oh, yeah.
Lord Raglan's man, Bunting, admits us to the residence and shows us into the study to wait. We are almost as impressed by Lord Raglan's establishment as we are with Lord Raglan himself when he arrives. At 30, he is the picture of the English gentleman, impeccably groomed, with a grace and style at once attractive and forbidding. The introductions completed, he separates himself from us by walking to the other side of the desk. Seating himself, he asks us to begin. Before we can, however, he notices an envelope on the desk and immediately calls for Bunting. Drummond has slipped up again. See that this is posted immediately. Excuse me, gentlemen. Debt where credit should be, or some such. Please begin. On the night of Mr. Allen's murder, he had an appointment with Captain Egan. Yes, the purchasing officer for naval ordnance at the Admiralty. We were working on a secret project for the Admiralty, and Courtney was concerned about one of the engineers Richard Camp being a security risk. We discussed it that morning. I gave no credence to the idea. Lord Raglan pauses to reach into a small silver box. From it he draws forth a cigarette which has a B and H printed on it in gold leaf. He inserts it into an ebony cigarette holder, lights it, and leans back. Without our prompting, he continues. No, Camp is a fine fellow. But as a concession to Egan, I removed him from the project and assigned him elsewhere. Tragic, Courtney's death. To think that I had intended to stop by the offices that evening, but was forced to work late at the plant. If I had, perhaps the thief would have thought twice before tackling two of us. Were you disappointed about not being named president? You were, after all, senior vice president. Not a bit of it. I am quite happy in my work in the technical areas. Administrative matters do not interest me. Besides, one of Marlowe's conditions of employment was that he succeeds Courtney when Courtney retired. Of course, that would not have been for many years. Thank you, Lord Ragland. And you make your exit.
I like him for it.
You're supposed to. He's an English gentleman.
Yeah, he's
I know.
very, very charming.
I'm also going to just zoom in on the bottom of that list.
Yeah, so as far as we know, fits the description of the man who met Alexander Metchkov at the inn, right? I mean, it was just English in 30s, but...
No, he would have pointed out some of this other stuff. I mean, he's so obvious, you know what I mean? He's got like
I know.
To him.
So what can you repeat? What was it he said about Camp again?
He said.
He was,
go ahead.
oh, just he was untrustworthy. Well, Courtney thought he was untrustworthy and wanted him removed.
And he
was removed. But he liked
Had
him.
him reassigned, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Richard Camp also smokes Benson and Hedges Imperials.
Oh, he is on the list as well.
Yep, he's on the list.
He's
so
on
there's
the
two
list.
things. Richard Camp is definitely one. And I just wanted to point out, because I was writing in my notes, the floor is really, really uneven where the crime was committed, and the one guy was walking with a limp. So he was walking with a limp, and he got to the other place in, hour and a half? So he got out of there pretty quick. It probably couldn't have been him.
Oh, like the guy with a limp?
Bear in mind, if he was at 5... I'm just looking at the map. If he's at 5 EC, so that's there, and then he's going to get all the way to the Spaniard down here at 25. And according to this, it's 15 minutes to walk that distance.
Okay.
That feels like a lot of... I don't know. That feels like it's way too far to do in any reasonable amount of time.
Right.
Yeah, I'm making myself a little measure here. So this ruler is 15 minutes. Oops. If I can click on it. Oh, there it goes. Jeremy's got it. How long are we expecting them to have gotten from the shooting, which happened at like 8:30 up there?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Right.
We had between 7 to 8:30 when he would have met.
So that's 15 minutes to there, half an hour to there, 45 minutes to there. Okay, there's a river in the way, but we'll round for the river. An hour. Right. Hour 15. Hour 30. Hour 45. It's almost a 2-hour walk.
And we're assuming he didn't take a cab?
Or, well...
There's a cabbie we can talk to, isn't there?
We can.
That'd be too easy.
Man, that's a hop.
Yeah, if you were walking. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But if we think the same person who did the shooting met with them at 8:30, then all of our suspects are going to have to be able to do that.
Oh, that's
Unless
true.
we're sure it's an organization, which would put Raglan and Camp together. Because they have connections, so they could work together. But that's not usually the answer, right? It's not usually it's usually just looking for one person, right?
Usually. Which, by the way, at this point, I think we're far enough along now to start thinking about solving the crime. Here are the questions we have to answer. Who killed Courtney Allen? Why? What was the significance of the message in the book? And what was the reason for Richard Camp's visits to the French embassy?
Oh, I forgot about Camp.
Oh, French embassy.
Well, I guess visit Camp next, right? Because we need to figure out his motive.
There's follow-up questions, by the way. We
Okay.
can also get bonus points if we can answer, why was the tip of the cigarette found at the scene of the crime pinched all around evenly? Who was Courtney
I
Allen's...
think because it was in the holder.
Who was Courtney Allen's paramour? What was special about the weapon used to kill Courtney Allen? And how could Wiggins easily make 10 pounds?
Oh, wow.
Now, those are all bonus points if you can come up with them. But the first four are the core of the mystery.
So the other reason I like Lord Raglan is because he had the cigarette holder, and I think that would pinch the cigarette all the way around. And if the label was left, it's also stuck in a little bit so it wouldn't burn into the holder, I don't think.
Yeah, that's a fair answer.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's very logical. So if he was there, well, could this, I mean, the cigarette could have been there before the murder happened.
Or planted.
Or planted? I don't know.
I'm gonna guess that might be workable. I'm going with Chekhov's gun. If it was mentioned, it's important.
Yeah, I agree. I think if it's there and the fact that it has come up again, multiple times, I think it's important.
If you show a gun in Act 1, you better kill someone with it in Act 3.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if we should see the coroner too about because we don't know anything about the weapon, but we do know that Courtney was working on a special weapon and dealing with Raglan and Camp. So if maybe he was killed with that special weapon that they were working on, which would also lean towards those two.
Wasn't it a ship gun though? Like it couldn't have been that weapon.
Reference
I have no idea.
back. Where did we? Let me see where you've been.
I know
Well,
it was
I
a
know
new type of naval
Raglan-
gun.
Yeah.
Well, he works for the Admiralty, but was it for the ship or was it for the?
I think it was called a naval armament, which suggests to me ship cannon.
Yeah, like a deck gun. That's what I was thinking. They're working on like actual like huge weapon of war, not like.
That makes sense.
Not that pew 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 can't be used as a weapon. You know what I mean.
Yep.
Every once
But it's
in
a lot
while.
more convenient because if you shoot somebody and he's still warm, but there's no sign of the weapon, it probably isn't so big. He's
A
gonna
naval
move it.
gun. Just nothing left. Just like.
No.
Well, they did say the cobblestone was like destroyed. Maybe it was just like just completely obliterated. Maybe now we really should go see the coroner and be like, okay, so what state was the body in? I
Yeah.
figure the constable would have mentioned if he was just obliterated, but maybe.
Well, the one part I found was still warm, so it wasn't that far.
Right.
I think the hand does cool.
And his
rapid.
vest was still intact.
What was that
So,
last?
I mean, the vest was still intact, so I'm guessing that's like Not he wasn't just obliterated, but yeah, we should see the coroner, I guess.
So should we do coroner next or Richard Camp next and try and figure out why he was at the French embassy?
I like Camp 2, to be honest.
Yeah. And I guess if he smokes the same cigarettes and we notice that it's pinched anyway, that'll help us narrow it down too if we need to.
Yeah, or if he's just smoking them without the little.
Yeah, because
tip.
if he's smoking it without the thing, then it wouldn't be pinched necessarily.
Yeah, it would be like bit down on or something.
Okay, Camp.
Well, who do we want to go to, Camp or the coroner?
Just summon Camp to the corner and then just do it in one
does that count as one stop then? And we just make everybody meet us at the corner. It'd be great.
I know who did it. That's like straight up just like Scooby-Doo style.
Yeah. Or the theater.
It is.
There's a bunch of theaters that we can get everybody together at the theater.
Yeah.
Real dramatic reveal. It was just a robbery. They had it right at the beginning.
It turns out it was just a robbery. Oh, wow.
It was just a robbery. Why was it? It was just a robbery. So what was the thing with the book? Oh, it was just a robbery.
Literally, yeah, that stuff means nothing.
We've hired the great Sherlock Holmes for a routine robbery. I'm sure Doyle would be all about doing that at least once.
Oh.
That would make a good short
Like
story.
he goes on a wild goose chase. That would actually be hilarious. Like as like a filler episode in the middle.
Oh yeah.
Like he just thinks it's something really exciting and it's just not.
So when they're talking about when one of the questions is what was the significance of the message, is that the Special Project 10 Spanish Tonight 10 firm? Do we think that's what that message? Because nothing else is really a message that we've seen, right?
Yes.
Or are we talking about the message that was in his pocket? Okay.
That's what I think they're referencing.
Cool. We know the answer to some of the not as important questions.
No, the significance, that's on the top.
Oh, no, that is an important one. Yeah.
That's one of the top 4. That's not a bonus question, which is one of those, if you can glean the bonus ones, you can make up for the fact that it's almost impossible to do this in as many steps as Holmes does.
Right.
So.
Right.
Well, it has to be, otherwise he's not as amazing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out why Wiggins would make 10 pounds. I mean, leading us astray would be one.
Right.
Possibly.
I made him snort. I don't think it's the right answer. All right.
I'm just glad I remembered the emergency list.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And I do think sometimes Holmes has items off the emergency list on his list. I don't remember if it's this case or not.
Oh, that's cool.
So, well, because they're universal needs. Sometimes you just gotta go talk to the coroner, or you have to go visit the probate Somerset house.
If you can,
right?
The expert, right?
Yeah. You know, the 13-year-old, the 11-year-old.
He did have an extra ring on him, which is I'm like, okay, the extra ring has got to mean something.
That's why I'm wondering if it comes back to the affair, because you take your wedding ring off to have an affair.
Unless she's into that.
Unless she's
That's
into
hardcore.
You know, it's 2020. Life is short. I'm not judging nobody.
It's a different time. Different time.
Some people collect stamps.
It's very similar hobby. Diagram.
Someone with their wedding
It
ring on, is
completely
it someone
overlaps.
The connections.
Stamp collectors and people that don't take off their wedding rings.
All right. Well, who do we decide we're talking to?
I think we were between Camp and Corner, but we were leaning towards Camp.
Yeah, Camp.
Okay, I'm gonna write down
and
Camp.
Corner.
Okay, where was Camp? I just had it open because I thought that's where we were gonna go.
All right, Camp is in 23. He's in 23 Northwest.
23
Northwest.
Which is the Royal Academy, apparently.
The Royal Academy.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't sound good. 23. No, that's east. That's WC. Northwest. There we go. Ah, yes. Ooh, big block of text. Means something.
Ooh.
Yay!
We find Richard Camp in the sitting room of his bachelor apartment, nursing a cold and looking thoroughly miserable. As he pours a spoonful of Dr. Sari's magic elixir, he is seized with a fit of sneezing, causing the liquid to spill down his shirt front. Blast! He curses. He flings the spoon across the room and takes the slug straight from the bottle. Ill health puts me in an ill temper, he says by way of apology. We're sorry to inconvenience you, but we would like to ask you a few questions. Would you tell us why you were removed from project number 10? Lord Raglan simply assigned me elsewhere. Since project number 10 was well along, he felt I would be more useful in other areas. He also mentioned that my visits to the French embassy had been misinterpreted in some quarters, and perhaps it would be a political move. Anyway, your visits to the French embassy? I am secretly engaged to the daughter of vice consul. Her father is a most difficult man. Her uncle, Emile Zobar, is sympathetic to us. Since I work for an arms company and he is a military attaché, my visits were ostensibly to see him. Both Mr. Allen and Lord Raglan were well aware of the real reasons for my visits. Did you ever discuss project number 10 with Monsieur Zobar? No, I would never. And where were you on the evening of the 9th? I met Annette, my fiancée, at Rule's. We took several hours to dine, and then I brought her home to the embassy. Just one more question, Mr. Camp. Do you smoke Benson's and Hedges Imperials? No, I don't. They are a favorite of Emile Zobar's, though, and I gave him some for his last birthday. Why do you ask? Oh, just following up on our leads. Thank you for your cooperation, Mr. Camp. We hope you're feeling better soon. Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, so not Richard Camp.
No, but Emile Zobar smokes them.
Emile Zobar and Lord Raglan. Alright, do we still want to check out the coroner next?
I'm down.
Emile Zobar's also on the list. I mean, that means he must smoke a lot of them, right?
Well, if they're a good gift, maybe.
Yeah,
Why is he giving them gifts?
because it's his fiance's uncle.
Oh, he was the uncle. Okay. I think
Yes.
he's- Okay.
Let me double check to make sure I have that right. Her father is difficult, and her
Yeah,
father
he's
is
the
the
vice
vice
consul.
consul. Her uncle, Emile, is sympathetic to us, probably being the relationship. So, Camp has been saying he's going to go meet with Zobar, the military attaché, to talk guns, and instead is spending time with his fiancée. It's kind of cute.
Secret fiance.
It's kind of sweet. And he was having dinner with his fiancée the night of the murder.
Right.
So he's got an alibi.
Yeah.
So
So you're right, though. Emile is in the
But why did Emile do it?
frame. Unless it's gun armament, but it doesn't really make sense. I still like Lord Raglan. Alright, let's check out the coroner. See if he can tell us anything about
Yeah, corner.
the body and the gun. Maybe. Or the weapon.
Okay. Jasper Meeks of the coroner's office. Let's see here. You're on step 7. This is EC 38. Okay. Section EC goes this way. Here we go. Oh. Sir Jasper Meeks explains that Allen was shot in the chest at close range, from a distance of 2 feet, no more. There were extensive powder burns on his overcoat. Do you have the bullet? No, but it must have been a large caliber. The exit wound was massive.
He must have known the person then, because you're not going to let someone get
That
within
close.
2 feet of you, with a gun.
Yeah.
Large caliber
Right.
gun.
Right.
Exactly.
Large caliber. Right?
Accidental shooting, and then they panicked, made it look like a robbery.
I'm not adverse to this. I'm not adverse to this. I'm not sold on it, but I'm not going to rule anything out yet. As I'm consciously, desperately trying not to look at any answers with you guys.
You're like, I want to know.
Well, I will admit I stumbled.
Gotta be harder for him.
Yeah, I was flipping pages and I stumbled onto the entry for the Devereaux plant, which let me see what its location was, and then look at the map and go, oh, hey, look, here's a Devereaux Street. Bet you that's the plant down there. Because I don't know if we ever. I think when Jenny and I did this, we didn't even know to go there because we couldn't find that on the map, and we kind of hated the fact that we couldn't.
It's really weird that you can. Yeah.
Illegal.
All right. So, do we want to go to the plant now? Because we've talked about it.
Yeah.
Wait, we've talked about it a bunch.
Let's go ahead and go to the plant now.
SC12. It's actually the second thing I have. Like, I've seen, and then I wanted to go to the plant next.
Right. We just keep pushing it off with, like, oh, maybe it's this guy.
Let's go talk to this dude.
Okay, so step 8 is at 12 SE.
Getting dangerously close to 10.
I'm going to really quick confirm one thing for my peace of mind. I remember it's 5 points or 10 points per stop. But remember, you do get credit for everyone that Holmes would have to have made as well. So,
Okay.
Right.
there we go, 12 SC. Brace yourselves. You picked a good one.
All right.
This is a full page.
Oh, wow.
Jeremy was good.
Yep. We enter the typically grimy manufacturing environment of the Deverell Strait plant. Lord Raglan ain't here, but I can show you to Mr. Kehoe's office. He's the governor's assistant. It is evident that Walter Kehoe has come up through the ranks and will be more comfortable in overalls than his present ill-fitting tweeds. With a meaty paw, he tugs at his shirt collar and asks us our business. Can you tell us anything about Mr. Allen's visit here on the morning of March 9th? Odd, I thought it was, so as I remember right enough. Mr. Allen comes to see his nibs, Lord Raglan, but he ain't here. Mr. Allen says he'll wait in the office. Do you know why Mr. Allen came to see Lord Raglan? No, I wouldn't be knowing their business, but it was most likely about project number 10. It being secret and all. There was hangers-on around the plant, foreigners and whatnot. Do you know what transpired when Lord Raglan returned? What? Well, he never did return. Leastways, not before Mr. Allen left. I was called away, and when I gets back, Mr. Allen, he hands me a note. Says it come for Lord Raglan, and I was to be sure he gets it. He also says that he'll see Lord Raglan some other time, and perhaps it's best I don't even mention that he'd come by. Lord Raglan was in a bit later, stayed for a couple of hours, and left for the day. Odd it was. A begrimed workman enters and informs Kehoe of some problem with a piece of machinery. I'll get back in a moment, gents. Why don't you wait in Lord Raglan's office? Left to our own devices when Kehoe and the workmen leave, we can't but notice a drawer in Raglan's desk partly open. And, of course, we can't help but peek in. We do not discover much of interest, only a stack of invoices and a bundle of stock certificates. One of the invoices is from Radford Jones SC Company for 140 guineas. It is dated September 5th, 1887, and stamped, paid March 10th, 1888. The stock certificates are in 5,000 share denominations for several different companies, among them Rafferty Paper Mills and Stevenson Iron Works. We managed to close the drawer just before Kehoe returns. A little kick in the slats always does the trick. Now, where were we? That's a very impressive safe. All plans are kept under lock and key, to be sure. Would you take us to someone who could tell us about project number 10? Well, the only one around now would be Richard Camp. He was an engineer on the project. No, not anymore, but he can tell you a thing or two. Kehoe leads us back through his office and out into the corridor. The noise of the plant, curiously insulated in Raglan's office, grows stronger as we approach Camp's office. We knock and enter, but the office is vacant. He may be down on the line. Let me check. Kehoe's second absence gives us a chance to prowl Camp's office. The desk is littered with plans and formula notations, none of which means anything to us. Next to a cigar humidor is a framed photograph of a young woman. She is very pretty and with extremely long dark hair, and she radiates a bright, dimpled smile. Somewhat blurred in the background is a familiar cathedral with two square-shaped towers. Before we can rummage further, Kehoe returns. Mr. Camp left early, it seems, not feeling well. Well, thank you for your time.
I gotta put Layla to bed. I will be right back.
Okie doke.
Okay.
I need to rehydrate. Shall we take a
5-minute stretch?
Take a 5 stretch? And then
Great.
come
All right.
back?
Sure.
All right. I'm going to be right back. Yoink. There we go. But I've got, let's see, I've got the Discord running, so that's 4 incoming video feeds plus an outgoing video feed, coupled with OBS, which is then processing the incoming video feeds and creating a new outgoing video feed, and then the Twitch stream monitor, so that's an incoming video feed, plus the graphic production that OBS is doing, and the light, ever so light background music. I don't blame Comcast for hating me.
Tell them they have a good reason to hate you.
Yeah. The good news is when they do things like throttle me, I can talk about them hating kids because I use a lot of bandwidth for teaching. So.
Yeah.
Okay, there's that. So, when we left off, we had confirmed Camp's alibi, right?
Yeah.
I feel like we successfully confirmed his alibi. So we've answered that part of the mystery. We know why Camp is going to the French embassy. And it feels like Camp is probably on the level.
Yeah, it does. Definitely.
And that's what we have so far.
Yes, so far. So.
Well, we think we know
So-
the significance of the message, right? Did we decide that?
But who did he meet with?
Or do we need more? Oh, we need to know who he met with.
It sounds like there's a lot of stuff going on with stock.
Yeah.
Well, that was his brother's. His brother's into stock.
Right.
Yes.
He had it for Rafferty Paper and the Ironworks. He didn't say if he had stock with the gun company, right?
I didn't see. They didn't say anything about that there.
I don't think he did.
Well, we assume the people who run the company have stock in it.
Well, I wondered if it could be a takeover situation, or if he was selling the weapons so he had money to play with the stock market, or if he was making a play for alternate company, or all sorts of things.
Well, since we're tossing ideas out like that, I always question why they took the pocket watch.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah.
Right.
I'm thinking
Yeah.
it's to make it look like a robbery.
Robbery.
But they then leave the jewelry
That-
on him?
And the empty wallet. I thought it was for the key for the briefcase.
But the
But then they
briefcase
didn't take the briefcase.
and the briefcase was locked.
Yeah. So they didn't open it, but
I'd almost say maybe they
I
took
still wonder
something-
with all this switching of.
Sentimental value, maybe.
Yeah, that's why I remember two things about the watch. It was like a gift, and then it also had the key to the briefcase. And I didn't hear anything more about the watch, the gift. The
yeah.
briefcase was the two people in the inn had the same briefcase. So I'm like, well, was there a briefcase swap going on? You know?
Yeah, that's what I keep thinking. Well, if it was a gift, was it a gift from Beatrice? Should we check out Beatrice next? Or could it have
Beatrice is
been
on my
the...
list. Although I'm leaning more and more against it. It just doesn't seem like there's much there.
Like, you
Yeah.
gotta talk to the wife, I imagine, but it could be like what happened with the coroner. Yeah, he got shot. Thanks
Yeah.
for stopping by.
that definitely is the trick to these, is figuring out the bang for the
Yeah.
buck on our stops. Which I do feel like the plant was a lot of bang for buck.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the factory
And
was
it,
good.
and it was out of order,
Factory's
right?
good and camp
Because
was
they
good.
said that. Yeah, they said camp left. It's like, can we talk
Yeah.
to camp? Camp left.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, he left. We just talked to
He was
him.
like,
Yeah, we just shut up.
Yeah. Well, again, we would not have expected Camp to be there. We just left this place where he's homesick.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, and then I'd also like, oh yeah, why don't you go look for him? Well, we rummaged through his stuff.
Yeah, Fifth Amendment. What's that?
Well, I still wonder who his
Or
special
fourth.
his other relationship was with,
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about. Like,
and if it was with Lord Raglan's wife, that would be another motive. But that also gives us
Right.
the count.
yeah, and what was with the familiar cathedral in the background of the photo with the young woman?
I assume it was Notre Dame, and showing that she was from France, and it was Victoria. Was her name? Was Victoria her name? Annette.
Annette?
Annette.
Annette. I assume it was a picture of
Right.
Annette.
Which
Victoria was the hat.
Yeah.
That's right.
I wonder if she's in here.
Which way it would make sense if she's, she's the daughter of
Yeah, the vice consul.
the vice consul,
of
right?
France.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Emil Zobar is in here. So he could give us some insight into what's going on if
Yeah.
that's a direction we think we need to go. But then it just gets back to the, like, I don't know, it feels weird going after
I
him.
don't feel like he has anything to do with it.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't. Yeah.
I mean, other
But then-
than he was also in the shooting competition as well
Right.
as the cigarettes.
And it feels like with the
I'm pretty
plant.
sure the significance of the cigarette, though.
Yeah. Plus, it feels like with the Devereux plant that there was Raglan wasn't there, and he left early, and he arrived late, and there was a letter, and I really wish it would have told us what the note said.
Hands me a note.
Right.
Says it come
And
for
said,
Lord
"Don't tell him I was
Raglan,
here."
And I was to be sure he gets it. So he left a note for Lord Raglan.
But then
Right.
he told the guy to make sure he got the note, but don't tell him he was there. It feels like he found out something about Raglan playing dirty pool. But also, that's a super
His
convenient
dirty
way
pool,
to think about it.
um,
Just be,
Is that a euphemism?
maybe not being truthful about what's going on. Maybe he was the leak on the plant project, or, and then he's got these stock things, and
I'm digging that. But
yeah,
there's
there's
still
lots of money changing hands. It's interesting.
on Raglan's
yeah, there's still
got
questions
stocks.
to answer. And
And a bill dated the 5th, 1887, paid March 10th, 1888.
Paid
and
afterwards,
today
yeah.
is
12?
the
Let's say
12.
12th.
The 12. Mm-hmm.
and what was it? It was for Radford Jones.
Radford Jones.
What was the company?
SC Company. For 140 guineas. Which is a weird currency choice.
It's weird currency, yeah.
Right.
That's Australian, isn't it?
No, it's British, isn't it? Don't you have guineas in British as well? Bet you did. But I don't remember how much it is. It didn't seem like it was a lot.
Well, let me.
No.
Okay,
Well,
I'll peek on
I
that
wonder
one.
where that company is.
Guinea to pound conversion.
Jones.
There are French guineas. Guinea British coin. A guinea is not used in England anymore. It was minted between 1663 and 1813. So if it was a
What
British,
year are we in?
Old money,
1889?
1888, I think.
yeah, if it was a, you wouldn't write a modern contract in England in 1888
In guineas.
in guineas.
So there is a listing for Radford Jones and Company. I don't know if that's important or not.
What do they do?
It doesn't say in the phone book. I just looked in the.
Okay, I'm skimming through. Oh,
It
they're
just says-
tailors.
Oh, okay.
I feel like I may have saved you guys.
Yeah, Yeah, I don't think that was Megan Taylor's big deal. And I'm assuming that there was nothing outside for us to notice at Deverell Street if it didn't say it specifically in the text. There's not like a
Right. And I'm willing to bet that in my notes, where in the book where it says Radford Jones SC Co., I'm willing to bet that SC is an ampersand that got misprinted when they translated the book from French to English.
Okay,
Right.
so Anco. All right,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
So that's a bill to a tailor.
All right.
Google
So we
Translate.
For the win.
Oh, there's all kinds of
So we
weird...
could try Emil, try the wife. We could try. I
What are
kind of
we
want to
missing
try a
with Raglan?
cabbie.
The hat shop.
What? Oh, we could try the hat shop. We haven't tried that. Maybe that will tell us. Maybe if he didn't buy the hat for himself, maybe he bought it for his paramour.
Yeah, it's
'Cause he-
just weird that it was one of the only things on him.
Yeah, I like your thinking.
Okay, he was murdered on the 9th. He has a note to be at the plant at 8 a.m. for a surprise. He shows up at the plant on the 9th, right?
Right. Wants to meet with Raglan. Raglan's not there.
Then
Waits for a while and then leaves. Leaves the note for him.
Tells him not to say he was there.
There. And then the guy said he came in late. Raglan came in later and then left, which was unusual.
Right.
Because he left at what, like 3:30 or something?
Weren't here. Says away in the office. Most likely about Project 10. What transpired? Nope, never returned. When I get back, Mr. Allen, he hands me a note and then he leaves. So, nothing about timing or anything. Just
Oh, okay.
he waited for a while and then he took off. And there's something here about a surprise. This is the thing. Plant 9 a.m. surprise.
So I'm guessing like a surprise visit?
Maybe?
Because didn't...
Or maybe it was a surprise for Raglan.
Yeah. Because didn't Walter Cole or whatever say it was unusual for him to visit? That it was a surprise for Courtney to be there?
Odd, yes.
I think he found out Raglan was doing something.
Yeah, something suspicious.
Yeah, but that 3 explanation points doesn't look like a surprise. I found out what he was doing. It looks like
That's
a
true.
surprise.
He didn't put it in his diary.
Well, what if he was planning to give him that hat, that Victoria hat?
Oh, there you go.
Is this Chelsea? Is that the Hatter? The Hatter is Chelsea?
Yeah.
I think the Chelsea refers to the part of London.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Like
maybe
area.
Clarkson Sons in Chelsea versus Clarkson Sons in Victoria Station or something.
Yeah.
So there is a note that he was supposed to meet Captain Egan on the 9th at 8:30, which of course he didn't.
On account of being
So we
dead.
could talk. Yeah, on account of being dead. He had a good excuse. So I don't know, should we...
But he was still warm though.
But not at 8:30, he was warm
trying
at
to
7.
Freshly dead.
Should we try the hat shop? Because like you said, it's one of the few things that are in there, so maybe it's important. Then if we needed to, we could try Egan.
I'm nervous about the hat shop only because I feel like
I know.
there's not a lot of
Nothing there.
potential meat there.
Well, they had to size her head to make her a hat.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is if
The
it was
custom
for...
hat, right?
If we could find out the woman.
For Billy Mother's birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it could have been, yeah.
That's why we're with the
Billy's
hat.
mom.
Yeah.
I mean, we can if we.
I don't know.
if we-
You never got the picture of the hat for us. Is it a sexy hat?
A
Or is it a lame mom
Okay,
hat?
It's Victorian. Every hat's sexy.
No. No, we're not going down this particular road. Yes, we
No,
are.
we're not.
Hold on. You're going down this road. Now we have to go down this road. If we're going to talk about historical sexiness
In hats.
and hats,
I knew that would get us a picture.
oh yeah, it's not the picture
You're
you're
very
aiming
good.
for, but it's a picture.
Probably.
There's my go-to picture of
Right.
probably, in my opinion, next to Mrs. Noir, the sexiest woman alive.
This is who?
I know you're listening, which is why I'm saying that.
I want to see the sexy hat.
Oh, that's a
Oh, is that,
Victoria
that's
hat.
the hat.
That's not a Victoria hat, but that's a sexy hat. Ah,
Oh, it is a sexy hat.
Sorry.
I mean,
Hat.
yeah.
I mean, it's
Sure.
sexy hat and pirates. What's
Sexy?
to go wrong?
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
looks
it's like a pirate hat.
Are you saying pirates aren't sexy?
They totally. I mean, I think they are. I don't know.
Yeah.
Brotherhood of the Wolf came out in 2001. It's French. It's subtitles. It sucks to watch if you don't speak French.
Yeah.
But it's a really neat period piece.
It is supposed to be good.
And so is the gun she's holding. Also a really neat period piece. But anywho, a Victoria. No, I looked up
Okay.
Victoria hat and nothing came up as a Victoria hat. So that might be a particular brand of hat that they make at that haberdashery.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, because they wouldn't have put the person's name on it, so it's not like he was for
Right.
somebody named Victoria.
right. But it's, I mean, possible.
Okay.
Although
But we're
that's,
not seeming sold on that one.
I'm not sure what else we have as far as leads go. That's the only thing that makes me nervous is where else can we head? What else do we need to know?
Well, we
Did
could
we-
see. Well, we need to know who killed him and why.
We
Who
think
was woman?
we think Raglan could make it from the murder scene at 5 all the way across town. It'd take about an hour and a half. So if he was murdered at 8, they would show
7.
up at 7. He was discovered at 9.
He was discovered at 7.
He
Discovered at
didn't
7.
have a direct time.
Oh,
Just
so-
after
oh,
he
yes,
was
discovered
died.
at 7.
8:30 is when it was the meet at the
oh,
inn.
that's right. That's right. Yeah. So if he was murdered at 6:30ish, they could make
Should
it
we
across
check
town.
Yeah. Should we check a cab company? is that one of the ones that we have access to? Is a cab? Cabby?
Yes. We can check with the cabbies.
So one of the other questions is how would Wiggins make 10 pounds?
You're really interested in that one.
I don't know why, because I can't figure out why.
Yeah, it's very bizarre. Like, why and how would he make 10 pounds?
I mean, he can make it by,
Bribery?
spying or bribery or
Right.
begging. I don't know.
What's this?
I'm trying to remember what the irregulars did. They spied for him and they got information.
What was this?
Well, so if you look at the newspaper, there was a presumed thief found strangled. And there's also a note that they're like, hey, the cops can totally use more force.
Clearly.
Right.
So, could have found a thief and strangled them and made 10 pounds.
I don't know if Sherlock would have been okay
I'm
with that
gonna
if he
pick up
found
a new
out.
profession.
Anything for the money, man.
What if he ratted out like the way that the guy leaves behind the building? Like that was the information that he sold. Did he know that
That could be.
that Alan wants to, or yeah, Courtney Allen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Likes to leave out the back of the building. Like that seems like $10 worth of information or 10 pounds worth of information.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I still don't know what's going on.
I can't remember how much 10 pounds is worth compared to like $10 our like I
Hold
can't
Oh, that's a good point.
remember.
Hold on. I found something. In
What?
the paper, it says 10 pounds reward lost on March 8th, an earring consisting of a teardrop emerald circled by diamonds. Whoever will take same to 51 Codigan Street Southwest shall receive the reward.
Oh, there you go. You could have.
I like it.
And
So do we have to go there to figure out who turned it in?
I know. I'm really wondering.
I don't know.
Well,
do we
wondering
have
who
the
lives
earring?
there.
We don't have the earring, but we could see if somebody turned it in and claimed the reward, like Wiggins.
We can't ask Wiggins.
No.
He's right there
Hey,
with us.
Wiggins.
Probably not.
Oh, I guess we could.
We can't.
Can we call a friend? Should we talk
But
to
I mean,
Sherlock?
That's how he could have made
Can
10
we
pounds.
phone a friend?
So, there hasn't been any mention of that earring yet. But if we find the earring, we know how Wiggins can make 10 pounds.
I wonder.
Do we know why Wiggins wants to make 10 pounds?
Because he's a
Uh,
poor guy off the street, and
'cause-
that's what you do.
Yeah, we're consulting detectives
didn't
don't
it
get paid a
already
lot.
happen though? Isn't that like something that already happened, and we're just trying to figure out like how he got the 10 pounds, or like
No, how could he?
Yeah.
I believe it's in a future sense.
future tense? Oh, okay, gotcha.
He could find
Okay,
an
well there you
earring.
go.
That's
He
how
doesn't actually
how
have to
could do
find it.
Right.
By
That's true.
How could he? How could he? He could find the ring. There you go. You figured it out.
Oh. Oh.
So, where did?
That's kind of crazy. According to the rate of inflation, 10 pounds in 1880 is worth 1,200 pounds today.
Oh, wow.
That seems legit.
Holy moly!
It
That's a lot of
sounded like
power.
it had to be a
The
lot.
Power
Yeah.
of inflation, baby.
Currency exchange has really gotten good.
That's, and you know, what's interesting is I don't think that that's based on an average inflation of 3.5% per year.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that's a lot of money.
I mean, it's a cool earring, so.
It's probably a very, very expensive earring.
I feel like there's some funky rounding errors there though, because I feel like that's just
Yeah.
like
a lot.
that's a lot of money for 10 pounds.
Yeah.
You wouldn't. Also, I don't think you'd have paid that much for one earring. Why would you pay that much for somebody returning it to you?
Anyway,
Right.
not that that's just the most relevant thing to our conversation this evening. We should get back to the
What
case.
was the address? Oh, never mind.
The address was 51 Codigan Street Southwest. Or Cadogan, sorry, excuse me. Cadogan Street Southwest. So it's 51 Southwest, I guess.
Yep, and there's the house, 51 Cadogan Street, Southwest.
I was trying to figure out if one of our people lived there. One of our suspects. Because why not?
Oh, that's true. That would be interesting connection.
I don't know. I feel like I need to have closure on this earring now. Even if it costs us points, I need to
I
know.
must find the earring.
I think
Forget about the murder. We're not going to get paid anything for the murder.
But we
This
don't
is
even
why
have
we're
the
not
earring.
Sherlock.
So
All right, guys, if we're gonna go
we
for
wouldn't get
money, we
paid.
need to catch
That's
this
it.
daylight robber, the one that's like straight up like throwing smoke bombs.
Oh. Raglan lives at 56 Southwest.
I think
It's
we
not
just,
the same.
if we can just,
Oh, darn.
I bet we're going to stumble into the earring later, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe. If we figure out where to go, unless we feel like we've got it. I feel like we don't have a motive yet.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't really quite figured out what is the
What did
reason.
No.
What did
for the
Raglan do?
murder.
Because it seems like Courtney knew something was up, went to meet him, and then had to leave. And then ended up dead. And he was supposed to meet
Right.
somebody at
But
the
why?
somebody at the Spaniard
like-
at 10.
He found out something he wasn't supposed to find out. Type of
So, He was supposed to meet Egan at 8:30, and then somebody at 10.
I feel like
Should we
Egan's
check
the
on
next
Egan?
stop. But that's
Yeah.
that's
I
just
do
me.
too. He's on my
Yeah.
list.
Let's
Okay,
let's
let's
try
check
him.
out Igor.
To Captain Egan's.
Captain
Okay,
Egan.
Captain Egan.
Which probably should have been an earlier one too, but
Oh.
okay.
And we still haven't talked to
Of
the
the,
wife
of
yet.
the 5 I had,
Yeah, we
it
haven't.
was the wife and Egan we haven't gone to yet.
Right.
We're the first 5.
Okay, Egan.
So if we don't get any clues, we'll talk to the wife next.
Egan.
Although she seems less and less interesting. Like the more clues we find, it's like, eh.
The only thing I think she's going to be able to tell us if she knew who he was sleeping with. So I feel like that's really the only thing.
Right.
I think,
Because he probably didn't talk to her about business.
but here's the thing. Okay, so he's having an affair. If his wife knows who he's having the affair with, is he still having the affair? Because I feel like that's like the end condition to any loop involving an affair. Like continue until.
It might be that he's known for being a ladies' man. I don't think that was uncommon for the wife to know and just be
I
like,
did put that on there that he was. That's one of the few things I have about him is that he was a ladies' man.
Oh, I'm having a horrible flashback.
we either chose really, really poorly
Or yeah.
or really well.
I just hope this leads. I hope this lead leads you to something relevant, because this is
Oh, dear.
gonna hurt your score.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
We are told by Captain Egan's landlady. Wait a minute. No. We are told by Captain Egan's landlady, whom we suspect was once a bosun's mate on a man o' war, that he is at the Admiralty.
So that's an extra stop that didn't help us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a little star there.
Yes. Would a
But how
bosun's
else
mate
did we
ever
figure
been
that
a
out? I mean, I
landlady?
guess we could have gone there first.
Gone to the Admiralty.
We didn't have any
There would be
reason
some
to.
assuming.
Right. Well, yeah, we didn't have any reason to like.
Only because that was
I got
be
he
there.
was dealing with the Admiralty for the one weapon,
Yeah.
but that would have got. I figured Lord Raglan would get us through that. So, do we have to go to the Admiralty then?
If you want more info,
Yeah.
Talk to Egan and see. Maybe
There's
that'll
house
tell us
down
what the
on the way.
weapon is.
Now everyone will just go to the Admiralty.
I feel like we landed on a board where it's like go back 2 spaces.
That
Yeah.
hurt my feelings. Nothing else has hurt my feelings. Just this.
like
Yeah.
they knew it
It
was
was right
such
though. That
a
did totally.
clutch
That was
play
crushing.
that they gotta it cost you 2 points to talk to this guy.
unless
you really-
unless you think, well,
he
he's
must
not-
be really worth it.
and it's a naval weapon. We should check with the Navy people, and then we would have
Right.
bumped into him there. I still feel like it shouldn't count
Right.
against you guys. I feel like that's a silly one to count. I don't even know if Jenny and I counted it when we first got it. We did count it against ourselves.
Okay.
But-
So it counts when we're comparing our scores.
She's sitting
Right.
behind me listening to you guys. So okay, she's just listening to me and
Does she
convincing.
think it's good, or is she like, oh man?
How do you think they're doing? She only hears my side of things, so she has no opinion.
Okay.
Okay.
How are you doing?
Here's the good news. We have lots here.
Oh, cool.
So. Okay. So. Captain Egan is a small bulldog of a man. He paces back and forth behind a massive oak desk as if it were a quarter-deck railing. 8 months ago, Alan came to this office with designs for a new naval gun. Revolutionary in concept. Can't say much about it. Most secret, don't you know? The design was approved and money is advanced for its development. Can you tell us anything about the meeting Mr. Allen was to have had with you on the evening of his murder? The captain barks out a name unintelligible to us, and an aging lieutenant, long since beached upon the promotionless shores of paperwork, scurries into the room. Bring me the Grant Arms Company file. Allen sent me a wire this morning. Quite vague. Close-mouthed fellow when all is said and done. He was worried about security for project number 10. I know, but I wouldn't say much about it. His responsibility. He'd take care of it. Of course. I put some of my men on it anyway. The lieutenant returns with the file and is dismissed, for the time being, back into oblivion. The captain shows us first the wire. It reads, meet tonight, 8:30, your office, call out the guard, pounce at 10, see Allen. He then shows us a detailed list of activities of Richard Camp, the development engineer on Project 10. As you can see, he was always bringing boxes and bundles to the French embassy. Emile Zobar, French military attaché, has his offices at the embassy. Oh, so you believe that Mr. Allen's wire implied he had information implicating Camp in a security breach at Project 10? I did, and still do. But Lord Ragland, head of the project, assured me that Allen's security fears were unfounded. We met 2 days after Allen's unfortunate death. As a precaution, he told me he would remove Camp from the project. Since the conversation, I've concentrated my efforts on Zobar, von Schlungenberg, Del Guerra, and Meshkov. Their governments would all have great interest in our new gun. So far, my men have uncovered nothing. Thank you, Captain.
Who were the four names? It was Zobar, Eshkov, Schlumberg. Who was the fourth one?
Del Guerra, which is a Spanish name.
Yeah.
And
It's not on our list for the cigarettes, though.
no. And then I can
Neither is
add...
Meshkov, but Zobar and Schlumberg are.
Well, all that does is they put men on them and they've seen nothing. So it sounds even more like Ragland.
So, can I confirm, did he imply that Camp was taken off the project after Allen died? Or before?
Sounded like before.
It sounded like he raised the
That's what I thought before, and then I wasn't sure.
Yes. It seems like the timeline's right, though. They suspected Camp and that he might be connected, although we know why Camp was taking boxes to the French embassy.
Right.
So all we have to do is...
Should we see Meshkov?
If we can pin...
No, Meshkov has nothing to do with it, it seems like.
Meet at the office at 8:30, pounce at 10. So I feel like at 10 they were going to arrest whoever it was. Or go after whoever it was who was actually the leak. Does that make sense? But then he had the appointment for 10 at the Spaniard, at the Spanish Inn, and it was 10 exactly.
So it's interesting. He was going to leave, it sounds like, to meet his mistress, was caught, because he was going to come back. He was meeting Captain Egan at 8:30 to then go to the Spaniard, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So he had the note... There, yeah, the 10 o'clock doesn't feel like a coinkydink.
No.
So he was going to meet Egan at 8:30, which we know, right?
Oh, the your office is the Admiral's office, not...
Right.
Egan's at the Admiralty, I think, yeah.
And I'm guessing if he thinks someone's meeting someone at the Spaniard, if AM is meeting someone at the Spaniard at 10,
yeah,
that would be a good time to pounce.
Right.
Okay, this is completely off topic. There is a noise in the like loop that sounds just like if Layla was screaming in another room and I was wearing my headset. And I keep like, what is going on?
Like every
But
10
it's
minutes you
not.
go, what?
Yeah, and I keep taking off my headset like she's not screaming anymore. What? But I'm like, I finally figured it out. It took this long.
I have it really low on my end, so I barely even, it's just like it's just there. So I do appreciate this website. This guy's really cool. He's got like a ton of music for free.
Cool.
I want to try to work it into the D&D games and to our Monday Night Mysteries if this becomes a thing. So we'll have to check a few more things. But in the meantime,
Who do we go see next?
we have to figure out who AM is.
There's only one other AM.
It's either Meshkov or Anthony Moranto.
Mariano.
Right?
Or
Yeah.
Mariano.
But he doesn't get mentioned in anything else. But we've come across Meshkov before.
Right. Right, but he was joined later by someone at the Spaniard.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because
Well, Meshkov was, but we weren't
It
sure
sounded
if
like they
Moranto
both
was.
were.
That's what I thought too.
what was the thing about the limp? Did you mention he maybe turned his ankle by limp, and that's why he had a limp?
Oh, I think we
mean,
were trying to
it
figure out if
could've
he
been.
had a limp. Would he have?
Pre or post, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we're at the point where we could make a stab at the final thing with our current score, or we can keep following leads to be more confident in our answers. I know.
Because like I want to check out Meshkov because you're right. It does sound because I was under the impression he always had a limp, but maybe he didn't. Maybe he tripped on the.
That's kind of what I was.
Yeah, he could have tripped on the uneven pavement or cobblestone, whatever it is.
Kind of feel like we came up with the cobblestone thing. So I'm not sure if there was anything for that.
Oh,
No,
I don't know.
you said the guy who found him was like it's like really uneven. It was like meant to trip a man. He
Oh, that's
specifically
true.
Said that.
Sure.
And like you said, Chekhov's gun. There's got to be a reason for that statement.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
The only thing I feel like there's no hope for answering on part 2. We still haven't found the earring. We're not sure what's special about the weapon. And we don't know who
Large caliber.
Courtney Allen was hanging out with.
I feel like it's either going to end up being Lord Raglan's wife or the Countess von Schlumberg. If there's either of those. Only because of the comment about, marrying well.
Marrying for
Unless-
title, but not falling in love.
So, Alan didn't have a title, and his wife doesn't have a title, correct?
Right.
Okay, so it's not referring to one of them.
So he was with someone who has a title.
Right.
Would be the
So I
implication.
kind of feel like the only titles that we've come across at all
Right.
are Raglan and Countess. But since we went to visit
Right.
Raglan and nothing was said about the wife, does that mean we should go see the Count?
Or do we just posit that as our choice and hope
Yeah.
we're right?
I also have a note from way early with a Lord Devore or something. That's a title, right? Lord.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a note loser. Lord Devore the loser.
Lord Devore. What? Remember that name.
I legit have nothing in here about Lord Devore.
EEVOR? There's nobody in.
For all I know, it was Babor or Gazor. It was the opening
Well, there was like.
of the thing. There
Yeah,
was
there
a
was-
Lord Devore that was incompetent at the
Oh,
company.
That would be Raglan.
Oh, I thought. Yeah, that was Raglan.
He's a brilliant
So
technician.
why did I get Devore? Did I change Raglan to Devore?
No, he runs the Deverell Street plant.
Oh, that's why I got confused.
That's where you got it from.
Lord Raglan does the... All right.
We also haven't checked in with Philip Marlowe yet, the new company president.
I could check with him and see how maybe he can tell us something about Raglan or about the gun.
We haven't talked to the secretary. Have we talked? We haven't questioned.
We talked to the secretary.
We ran
didn't
into
we?
the secretary.
That's right. We already.
Yeah, I thought we talked to him like first.
Yeah, you're right. He was at the scene of the crime.
The scene of the
wasn't
murder.
he? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So let's see, where are we at?
So we're kind of at either wife, Marlowe, Lundberg, maybe, or guessing.
And why? I'm just gonna.
So I don't know if we.
Here.
Yeah, go.
While we're debating.
Yeah.
Okay, these are our top 4 questions. Okay, those are our top questions we got to answer first. Everything else is gravy.
Well, we answered the reason for Kemp to go to the embassy. That was to see his fiance.
Okay.
And then what was with the note, I think, was, to get whoever it was they were going to go after to definitely be there.
Yeah. At this
Yeah.
point,
It was
they expect
At
him to
10.
be here at
Well,
there at
this
10.
is the note that he had on him at the time.
Right.
So the note from A.
Yeah.
So this was, we think this is some meeting at the Spaniard Inn, right?
Yeah.
For what?
2 packs.
setting a
I
trap.
think it was, I think it was a trap.
But why would they send why would they send a note to Courtney Allen to set him up for? So is that what we're thinking? Someone sent him a note.
If AM sent the note to Allen,
Okay.
and then Allen went to Egan and said, "We're gonna pounce at 10 because I've got a meeting with the
Right.
guy," and I feel like
Okay.
that would make sense. I still feel like it's plans or something for the gun. Which I know doesn't make any sense.
And okay. So far.
Oh, and we think the earring. We think the earring return is how Wiggins will make the 10 pounds.
No, is that but where's the earring?
Right.
Okay, so that's what we have so far.
Okay. No clue who Alan's lover was.
Well, here's the thing: if we think this is significant, then this would point us at Raglan.
Right.
Yeah.
Raglan's cigarette holder, which would imply
Raglan killed him. I think he found out that Raglan was either selling plans or he was actually the leak, making it look like Camp. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe he was trying to pin it on Camp.
I think so, and then he could say, "Oh, I'll get rid of Camp," and the problem's solved. But then,
But maybe Alan found evidence that it was Raglan, and then
I think that's maybe what he found in his office, which is why he left and didn't want the guy to say he had been there.
right.
what did Watson say?
Something about dueling pistols.
Braxton had a fine pair of dueling pistols.
Braxton, yeah.
Yeah.
Chaps in the regiment, Braxton. So Yeah, I was thinking about that dueling pistol thing. It's like, oh, but that doesn't make any sense because there was no reference to it anywhere else.
Yeah, none of
Yeah.
it. I figured, but
Yeah.
you're right. It's like, why even talk about it other than to be like, oh yeah, the guns are good.
Yeah, that's kind of what I felt like.
It also feels like a little bit of a throwback to remember that Watson is a veteran.
Yeah.
In case you forgot, Watson was an army surgeon. So, just in, an off chance there.
Still feel like Alan was either found out he was selling secrets or he was robbing the company somehow.
Yeah, I feel like we're right there. We just need one more good lead.
Yeah.
And we can close the case.
Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that lead, though?
Right. I mean, Marlowe might be able to tell us for sure if it was Raglan. He can't tell us any of the other stuff, and nobody's told us anything about the gun for the special project.
I wonder.
Would he know about a gun that was large caliber, though? Yeah,
and then worst case scenario, it's like, okay, well, it wasn't that M, it's going to be the other AM.
Yeah, and maybe we can find out what was in the briefcase, because maybe that'll tie up stuff.
Now, we go see. Are we going to Meshkov's apartments, or do we want to go to the Russian embassy?
Oh boy.
Oof.
Because we got burned by
so what
this
day of the
last
week
time.
is it?
Yeah.
Today
Yeah, we did.
is a tick 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 Monday.
Monday.
Embassy it is.
I'm guessing embassy? Yeah.
The Russian embassy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not here because he sprained his ankle. He's actually at the military hospital. Oh, great.
Oh my gosh, I swear. If that happens.
Oops. Nope, you come back. You stay right there.
So much for those questions.
Okay, so we go to our list of stops. The Russian embassy, confirming that's where we're going, right?
Yeah.
Is located at... What?
I was just laughing at Jeremy.
Not super confident because the last time.
I know.
We were doing so good,
Let's split
confident-wise,
up,
until
gang.
that one.
That one just knocks you
Russian
out.
Embassy 54 Southwest.
It's fine. It's just points.
It's just right-
I just
it's
wanna-
not
I
very
just wanna
far from
say
the
solve it.
Oh, hey, Sonic,
I
welcome
know.
aboard.
Okay.
We are in desperate need of
Southwest.
assistance.
Yes.
So close.
So close? Yeah, we really are
I don't know, it
close.
feels so close.
We're
Feels
about
so
to
close.
get it. What did I write down as our
We're in-
destination?
The Russian
Southwest
Embassy, 54 Southwest.
Yes.
Okay, 54 Southwest has a significant block of text.
Yay.
At the Russian embassy, we are escorted to the office of Alexei Meshkov, military attaché. His massiveness is not obscured by his desk. He is friendly, chatty almost. My government is very, very interested in the new naval gun being developed by Grants. That I cannot deny. We have done business with Mr. Allen's company in the past and have always been satisfied. The Tsar, may God preserve him, has very large borders to defend as well as a large fleet to arm. But we are a patient people. I point to the Balkans as an illustration to that fact. We will wait until the British government deigns to allow Grant Arms to sell us the new gun. As Meshkov finishes speaking, there is an unexpected clatter behind his desk. Ah, thank you, young man, he says to Wiggins, who retrieves his cane, which had slipped down from the edge of the desk of its own volition. Meshkov pats his thigh and explains. An affair of honor some years ago, although not too many years ago. He laughs. As my adversary fell forward, shot through the heart, his pistol went off, accidentally, much as the cane just slipped off the desk. Unfortunately, the ball found my leg. Sir, would you mind telling us where you were on the evening of March 9th? Meshkov tilts his head back and laughs heartily. Of course not, my friends. I attended a performance at the Covent Garden Theater and was there all evening. Since we have nothing more to ask, we thank him and take our leave.
You know, that's a lie.
So,
Right.
yes, I want that gun, but I'm willing to wait. And yes, you can ask where I was, because I was at the theater all night, which if we think he's
Not a lot.
if we think he's full of the excrement of a south end of a northbound horse, we don't need to do any more follow-up. Now, if we're not confident we could follow up on that alibi. Take a little bit. Go in bed. Need a hug.
Who are you playing with?
I'm playing with the usual group on Sunday night.
But that's someone new.
Yes, that's TS. We don't have Adam this week. We have TS filling in. So that's why we're doing Sherlock Holmes instead of D&D. Because she's a big mystery fan. And she's brilliant. Okay.
Stay tuned.
What?
I wanted you to cane me.
I'll
All
call you
right,
up.
so do we believe him on the old wound either? I mean, he has a cane, but he lied about everything else.
Well, I
Right.
kind of wonder, was that a...
Okay.
Are we back to dueling pistols now? Now that we've mentioned it? I think if it was newer, he'd still look like he was in pain. And I don't feel like we got that idea. Plus, he was at the inn and wasn't in pain for all, where they just said it. So I feel like maybe that
Right.
was an old wound.
So it probably couldn't have been him, because if it was an old wound and the ground was really uneven, he'd be jacked up if he would have tried to traverse it.
I don't know.
I mean, so I have bad
It's old
ankles,
England.
and
It
when
was
the
all
ground
jacked up,
is, like,
wasn't it?
messed up, I'm just like, I can't. It just hurts. So, like, I totally feel that. Like, just, it was probably the other guy.
Yeah. Alright, so does that mean... I really want to know
I
who
still don't know
Metcalf
why,
met
though.
with. Because he was in the Spaniard Inn, or the Spanish Inn, and met with an English guy.
Was
I
it him
feel
that
like
was an English guy? Or that
Yeah.
was the other guy?
Because he was the first one, and he definitely met with an English guy who was around 30, which is
They
also
did
how
specifically
they
say an
described
Englishman
Raglan.
around 30, yeah.
And they specifically call out that Raglan looks about 30. And they didn't talk about anybody else's age when they gave us, when we met up with them.
Right.
Now I had another thought, which was to double check all these guys with limps and canes.
Have they mentioned other ones, or just this guy?
Well, back when we visited the Spaniard, Southwest 25,
Mm-hmm.
I think is what it was.
But wasn't that Meshkov? Yeah, Southwest 25. But that was Meshkov that had the limp, wasn't it? Who we just saw?
Well, wait a minute. Oh, he did walk with a limp. But it was Alexander Mishkin,
Michigan?
Oh, is Mishkin different? Oh,
which
shoot.
is different than Alexei.
Meshkov.
I thought they were the same guy.
Oh, I thought they were the
Meshkov.
same guy, too.
But they're described as big men with limps. So maybe he used a false name,
Right.
Or it was a typo.
and he had an
So
accent.
we know they've done those.
Well, it's Michigan. Both places it's brought up in. Yeah. I think Alexander Michigan is the fake name for. I'm good with that Alexei being the same guy.
Okay.
I would not recommend we
Yeah, they're
necessarily need to
described the
verify
same
that.
way.
But
Okay. They didn't really help us.
So, well, if it was indeed him that was meeting somebody, an Englishman, then, I mean, like you said, wouldn't it be safe to assume that it was he was meeting with Raglan?
Yeah.
And then, so Courtney Allen found out about it, was going to out him.
I think
that
so,
was
yeah.
it.
I think so.
And I think Raglan shot him to stop him,
Right, to shush him up.
ruin all of his schemes for the special project.
Okay, so we go to Raglan's office and roll for initiative.
Until he pulls out that giant pistol and wastes.
I protect the half-elf mage.
I intercede.
So meeting at the Spaniard Inn. So this is what I have so far. Check me if this is what we want to say here. Ellen found out Raglan was selling secrets to the Russians.
Yeah.
But the weird thing is he didn't actually take the folder. Like, he gave him a different briefcase.
Well, I wonder if there was more stuff. And he took some of it, but not that. Or if he swapped it, because that was something he had before. Because you're right, the briefcase was still locked. But if he took the watch with the key, he could have unlocked it, changed something, or taken out something he needed, locked it again, and ran off. I mean, which seems like a lot, but...
Yeah, it was a short amount of time. Maybe that's why he pocketed the watch instead of putting it back.
Yeah.
Possibly. And in the original case, there was Special Project 87. Good Zoom type, by the way. Special Project 87U and MBC. So those are both things that would have been relevant to... So Alan didn't have Special Project 10 with him.
Exactly.
Right. So he had other projects.
He would have been shot. So there's no need to take anything out of his briefcase. He didn't have Project 10 with him.
Well, so it could have been that Courtney was actually the one selling the stuff. And then they were going to pounce on the Russian guy. So, like, he arranged a meeting with the dude and be like, oh, yeah, I'm totally going to sell you this stuff. And then, stop him right there.
And I don't feel like he'd have come out with suspicions about Camp if he was the one selling secrets, because why draw attention to it if you're the one doing it?
Right.
What was the thing? I don't think he was actually selling the secrets. I think he was
sending him up.
Out that the guy was. Yeah.
I think he was hoping to catch Raglan and the Russian guy together. Secrets.
Possibly. But then what's with the surprise with Raglan? It seems weird. You know what I mean? In the morning, and then pounce on him in the evening. But then also I wasn't here.
Proof, maybe? Or that was what got him to know that maybe Camp wasn't it, and it was Raglan instead? I mean, that never came up, but I wonder, I kind of get the feeling that he found something in Raglan's office, which either confirmed his suspicion or changed his suspicion from Camp to Raglan.
Did he say what time Raglan left? After, like you said, he was there for a couple hours and then he left.
No, he didn't give a day. Didn't give a time. But it was till the end of business, so 5-ish, and it's not that far.
But he said it was odd, right?
He said
it was odd that he wasn't there in the first place.
Oh, that could be it.
Stayed for a couple of hours and left for the day. And then we found all the stock certificates for all these other companies. And money.
I feel like he was, yeah.
Like cashing out?
Yeah.
Setting himself up very well.
Insider
Alright.
trading.
Are we?
I don't know.
Do you like your answers, or should we follow another lead? Because I feel like this is what we have so far. I don't think they're bad answers.
I like them, but I can go either way.
We never found the earring.
We did not find the
We
earring.
did
No,
not.
but I
We
don't
didn't
know
talk
if
to
we-
the wife for it.
I don't know if we needed to find the earring or just figure out how he could have made 10 pounds. So we didn't talk to the wife, and we didn't talk to the
We didn't
count.
talk- Right, we didn't talk to the count or
I did not
countess
mean to
or
move
whatever.
that, I'm sorry. I was trying to scroll.
Yep.
Sorry, I did it again, Locket.
It's so hard to do. It's so hard not to do.
Dang it, it's so much bigger than the actual text.
I know. I'm working really scrolled out on mine. So like I'm at 40% so I can see everything. Like the map of London. Unfortunately, I have to be at like 50% zoom to get the whole map on the screen, which looks really neat when you look at it. We look very serious with this. And completely unrelated, I figured out how to do scrolling text in OBS. So I can actually really start to work on my overlay to have
cool.
like, latest follower scrolling through the scene. And all those kinds of things to pop up. Which I'm really geeked to play with.
Yeah, I have that as like my Spotify song scroller thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I did it through OBS, and it's good. And you can obviously use it for other things like latest follower, latest subscriber, or whatever.
I'm not far enough along to do latest subscriber. I've got a few more months, years before that happens.
Oh,
I know. I'll get there.
Months,
I'll get there.
not years. You'll get there.
I'll get there.
Priorities.
Yeah, I'm still on the, oh, wow, somebody followed. Yay! Phase. Which, again, with a face for radio, I'll take every follow I can get. But I tell good dad jokes, and I give very heartfelt dad affirmations. So I have that going for my brand. Speaking of brands, where are we at? Are we digging more, or are we calling it?
Oh, I don't know.
I feel like calling it, but I don't know where else to look that I feel confident looking. I mean, we could just go to the address that they said to turn in the earring, and he might already have it on him. I mean, I literally have no idea.
I feel like that's we could do that, but I feel like that's a negative points. Hoping to.
Yeah, I don't think we need to do that.
Hoping to stumble into points. Scoring.
What do you guys think?
Yes, each lead is 5 points.
So, yeah, I mean, I think this is maybe as good as
We're good?
we're gonna get.
This is it. Are we? Do we like all the answers?
Every time I've watched a Sherlock Holmes anything, I'm like, that's what?
What?
So this is just par for course. These are perfect Sherlock Holmes answers, because that's where I'm at. I'm like, what? You guys
Well,
sound
literally,
confident.
I'm like,
You got
okay,
me
just
sold
need
that
to,
you figured
beat
it out.
A couple more people, take a couple more teeth. I don't know. I do things a different way.
I think we're right for the most part. I don't know. We could be wrong in some things, like I don't know who Alan's lover is for sure.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that I'm not.
Well, TS just threw out
confident about.
the Countess von Schloss is the only other noble name we've come across so far. So
Right.
If we
Yeah.
want to pursue that, we can totally pursue that.
No. I mean, I think I'm confident for the most part with everything that we've like.
What if
listed.
his lover is Lord Raglan?
Raglan.
Oh,
I feel like
Ultimate
I feel like
plot
we would have
twist.
gotten a clue.
it was like
I feel like we
you
would've
told
gotten
me
a
you'd
clue
leave
there.
your wife.
Okay, now if this were the reboot with Benedict Cumberbatch, I would be all about that plot thread.
Right.
They would go
Yes.
there. They would go
We
there.
just
It would be
watched-
cool.
We just watched an old one. What was it? Sherlock Holmes Private Days or whatever. And there was he and Watson are at a ballet and they get called backstage and the lead ballerina is totally making a play for Sherlock. So he convinces her that he's gay and he and Watson have been having a relationship for a while. And then Watson's like, "You did what? Do you know how much trouble we'd get into?" It's the only time I've actually seen them go that route, but it's with. I'd never seen that one before. It's on Amazon.
Which one of these is this one? This is an older version?
This is an older version. I want to see it was in the 70s.
Yeah.
It was Sherlock Holmes. I want to say Private Lives or something.
That would be about the time they started experimenting with that kind of story arc in media.
Well, and it was really interesting because it was very much to get him out of a situation that he was like, no, I'm not really interested.
So let me make up something completely ridiculous just to be done with that.
Yeah,
but who hasn't done that?
Confidence.
You know,
Right.
I'm at a bar, I'm getting approached, I'm not interested, so I just look to my buddy and be like, yeah, we're just gonna pretend we're a couple.
Okay,
But
so
why?
You get approached at
Private
bars?
Life.
All the time.
Which of
Totally.
these things is more realistic?
I didn't say what type of bar it was.
You went out of frame and came back and were so red.
He's like a little tomato over there.
Yeah.
It's called The Private Life of Sherlock Holmes. It was 1970 with Colin Blakely.
Huh.
Colin Blakely and Robert Steffens. It was a Billy Wilder film. It was directed by Billy Wilder. If I came across it.
That's a good one. All right. If we're not following any more leads, we better call it.
Call it.
We're calling it.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, let's find out what actually
Let's head
happened.
back to 221B Baker Street.
Yeah, that's what I'm more interested in. Like, okay, well, where were we wrong?
Yeah.
That's what I need to know.
We are gathered once again at 221B Baker Street, comparing notes and discussing the case, trying to unravel its many threads when Holmes finally speaks. From the outset, it was obvious that the theft of Mr. Allen's wallet was but a decoy for the perpetrator's real intent. In the first place, it is unlikely that a common criminal would have overlooked two valuable rings, and in the second, simple robbery would not explain the absence of a folder marked SP number 10A in the briefcase. But the briefcase was found locked, protests Watson. As far as we know, Allen locked it, and it remained so until you yourself sprang it open. I might add that I was quite shocked at your adeptness with such larceny. To study the criminal is to acquire knowledge of criminal methods. In any case, the murderer must have opened it, as evidenced by the spread eagle position of the body and the placement of the briefcase with regard to it. As Allen was shot, his arms described an arc out and away from the body. The briefcase then appears to have been flung some distance, as indicated by the gouge in the leather caused by it scraping along the jagged cobblestones. Yet it found itself beside the body, and more significantly, waist high, exactly the right position for the murderer to have retrieved it, and brought it to the key on Allen's watch fob. Knowing that the contents of the folder were central to the murder and that the code stood for Special Project 10, a new naval gun for the Admiralty, it was a simple matter to cull two suspects from the customer list of Benson and Hedges. The cigarette found at the scene was, of course, a Benson and Hedges cigarette. You mean Count von Schlumberg and Emil Zobar, the military attachés from Germany and France? No, not at all. Remember, all technical data was kept at the Deverell Street plant. Folder SP-10A, like the others in Allen's briefcase, contained only administrative data that would be of little or no use to foreign power. It could, however, contain something that would be damaging to a company employee. Therefore, the two significant names were those of Lord Ragland and Richard Camp. Captain Egan, quite unintentionally, went a long way toward clearing camp. A visit to the plant completed the job. His visits to the French embassy were certainly suspicious, asserts Watson. The photographs on his desk explain them perfectly. The church in the background with the unfinished towers is Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. Mr. Camp's lady love is French and lives at the French embassy. Further, I suspect the lady has some familial relationship to Emile Zobar. The Benson and Hedges Imperials purchased by Mr. Camp, a cigar smoker, were intended as a gift for Monsieur Zobar. By that process of elimination, then, Lord Raglan is our man. But why? What was the damaging information in the folder? Asks Watson. From the cryptic wire sent to Egan and the note considering Spaniards intercepted by Allen, which, by the way, explains why a note signed AM was in Allen's handwriting, it was clear that Raglan was selling Special Project 10 to a foreign power. Whatever evidence Alan had was in the folder and was about to be taken to Captain Egan. I believe Mr. Allen went to the plant that morning to confront Lord Raglan with that evidence. When he intercepted the note, he saw a chance to catch Raglan and AM, Alexei Meshkov, military attaché at the Russian embassy, red-handed. He set up the meeting with Egan and was ready to pounce. Raglan, for his part, was either told of Allen's surprise visit and the intercepted note, or else he had detected something amiss with the note itself. He probably waited during the day for the axe to fall, and when it didn't, he realized that Allen was playing a waiting game. He took up station in the alley knowing Allen would come that way and shot him. That's the case.
That's pretty close to what we got, actually.
That
It
is. So now comes the
Totally
fun part.
missed the handwriting.
Yeah, it's a little weird, to be honest, with the amount of variation they have in here on that. So, let's see here. We go down.
It's funny because you pointed it out with the M's.
Yeah. Okay. Holmes did this in 4 stops. He went to E5. He went to...
What was the E5?
That was the crime scene. He then went to the cigar maker. He then went to the Admiralty. And lastly, he went to the Deverell Street manufacture plant.
Okay.
And you
Okay,
guys
that-
racked up an extra 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stops. So that's negative 35 points. Now, let's get through these. How did you guys do as far as earning points go? Who shot him? Lord Raglan, 25 points. Why? Discovered he was selling secrets, 25 points. Significance of the note, that is the sale with Alexei Meshkov, 25 points.
Mm-hmm.
Why did he go to the embassy to visit his fiancée? 25 points. Bonus. Why was the cigarette pinched all around evenly? Cigarette holder. Congratulations. Who was the paramour? Countess von Schlunberg.
Wow.
Wow, that was a lucky guess. I mean, well, it's only a lady who had a title, so I guess that makes sense.
I mean, that's awesome. I mean, it was like just process of elimination. Who is it going to be? I'm like, dang.
Right.
Dang.
And we never had to talk to the wife.
We didn't have to talk to the wife, you're right.
Now this was the blind shot in the dark that paid off. This one, it was a pistol from the Grant Society. We never encountered the Grant Society. And the earring was found at Bishop's Finger, which was some club or hotel where she lost it.
Interesting.
Okay, but
That's crazy. But how would we have known that? We would have. I
right,
don't know.
and we'd have had to go a lot more stops and lost a lot more points to get that.
Right.
Well, I
Holmes
think
did
no,
too.
I think if somehow,
He didn't return it.
right, I think the way the points are set up, if we had in our work ended up finding that earring, it would have been like, well, here's 10 points because you were at least following good leads.
Oh, okay.
Like, that's the way I interpret that.
Right.
It's kind of like a... Yeah, that makes sense.
It's like a
Okay.
little
It's
bit of a
like
handicap.
You screwed up, but you didn't screw it up that bad.
So that means
Because I feel like she found the lead in the newspaper, which is there to see if we get the clue. But yeah, I don't know.
and that's the score for
So
the
did
night.
we do pretty good?
You added... Oh, no, wait, what?
Did you get 180? Yeah.
Did I subtract wrong? Nope.
Wait,
Oh, no, no,
minus
that's a
35
box.
to 185?
That's a box.
That's a box.
We're like...
Oh,
185,
right.
what?
Like, that's like my math.
Are we silly?
oh,
There's
that's
that
something
better now.
else. I was like confused. I was like, wait, what?
85 points.
I really like 185.
That's not
Is
bad.
that-
That's a pretty dang
Is
good.
this
I don't
good?
have a real pen down here. I have everything else in my station but an actual pen, so I'll have to write that down into the book.
Hey.
Because you guys totally,
Good job, guys.
well, when Jenny and I did this, I think we got one of these wrong, and we gave ourselves half credit. When we debated, I think we got the meeting wrong. I think, but
It was a tough one though to figure out all the.
Yeah, there was a lot
parts.
going on.
Yeah.
I mean, we had the important stuff like quick. We were so hung up on these bonus points for like no damn reason.
I know.
Yeah, we really, and there was no way to get them.
I
I still think that the earrings should give us at least half because she did peg it that was how he'd make the 10 pounds.
Well, I
Which
agree.
technically is the question, right?
I agree.
How could he make the 10 pounds?
How could Wiggins make 10 pounds?
if he
Not
had
like
found the
how
earring?
did he or how,
I think you deserve 10 points for reading the newspaper.
Yeah.
I think more people would read newspapers if they got points for it.
True.
Isn't that what social studies was all about?
Reading the newspaper? Well, maybe.
So
No, getting 10 points for reading the newspaper.
how would we have ended up?
You
at
know,
Bishop's
my son might do
Finger?
more of it. Yeah, like
No
I
idea.
don't
how
feel
would
like
you
we had
end up
any way
in
to
that-
go to the gun or the. Yeah.
Yeah. Like how would you end up at those either of those places without like going out of your way? I don't get it.
Well, I think what we could have done, I think if we had talked to the wife, we might have been able to then get a line to where he was meeting his paramour. And that may have got us.
Yeah,
or
maybe.
if we had gone to the German embassy, that might have given us a hint to go there to follow up on the things. I bet.
So if we were like way off at the beginning,
Yeah. But
Yeah.
we worked our way
feel
back.
I feel like if Holmes would have gone to one of those two, then I feel like it was more justified for those to be bonus questions because there'd have
Right.
been more.
I think bonus.
There'd
is
have
the
probably
one
been more
where-
reason for us to go.
I think
Yeah.
I think it's not like I think like O was saying, it's not really bonus. It's
Fair
like
question.
if you went the wrong way, you can still get some points and not feel like you wasted time.
That could be.
That's my money. It's the extra credit for still following up on something, even if that something wasn't the actual case.
Right.
The participation points.
German embassy. We have to go to oh, here's one where he's not at the embassy. So let's probably have to go to the house.
He was at home.
And the house was in 51 Southwest. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There was a lot there.
There was a lot.
There was a lot.
Is that where we would have found out about the paramour?
Well, we definitely would have found out about the count. And I don't see anything about the wife though. But there's a lot about the count. And the count
Really?
drinking a lot. And
That's interesting.
and you rule him out.
Does it lead us to Bishop's Finger or whatever?
It does not.
Hmm.
Which is a shame. So I have no idea how we would have ended up there without pouring through
I
the
wonder if
entire
it was
book.
the wife. Wonder if it was the wife.
Oh, the wife, yeah.
Well,
Because I wonder if the wife also could have talked to us about the gun, because she would have known about guns in the company's possession, maybe. But
Allen. Well, let's check.
Okay,
Courtney
yeah.
Allen's at 14 North West. Your interview. No, she's of no use.
no. Okay.
No, that's a good thing we didn't talk to the wife because you guys would have been really mad at me.
Not at you.
No.
At the
Well, we've been
Michigan.
mad at us.
Yeah, it would have been a poor
This
choice.
game
You
is
can be mad at
lame.
me. It was my idea.
Well, it's funny because every time we learn more, it's like not her. I don't have anything I want to talk to her about.
Yeah. You're like,
Yeah.
After a while, you're like, yeah.
Yeah, just keep ruling her out.
Like literally,
ruling
it's
her out.
talk to her to like be like condolences. Also, your husband was boning someone. I mean, like there was nothing to talk to her about.
Yeah, which would have been an unfortunate direction to have gone. So, I don't feel so bad about you guys not going that particular direction. This is fun.
That was
I
fun.
think we did pretty good. To be
Totally
honest. It
fun.
didn't
Fun.
feel
I like
like
it.
we were doing well, but I guess we were doing well.
We did good.
That's
No,
how
I think we did great.
that's how I would categorize most of the Sherlock Holmes consulting detective games. You just feel like you don't have all the answers until you go, well, let's shoot the dice, and then sometimes you get it, and sometimes you're like, oh, yeah, we got that wrong, and that's where it hurts.
I feel like we somehow really missed the briefcase being damaged. Like I don't even have any
Yeah,
reference.
I
to
don't
that in my
remember
notes.
that.
That was
And I only vaguely remember them talking about where it was, or the body was splayed and how it was laid out. It's like, it's all very important.
It did seem weird that it was sitting at his hip from being shot point blank.
Yeah.
Right.
But that it didn't seem important. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. It looks as if a sharp object had been used on it. Large gouge in the leather of the briefcase. Yeah, it was in there,
What-
but
Just
that's
missed
Was it damaged when it was flung, or was it damaged because
it got
a
damaged.
sharp object was used on it?
Yeah, like
It's got
someone was
damaged.
trying to like break into it or something.
Right.
It was unimportant in the long run. I mean, we figured it out without that info.
Well, and
Or with
here's,
it, but ignoring it entirely.
here's the other twist. This game starts with there's a pre-recorded reading of that opening that's 7.5 minutes long. So that's somebody else
Wow.
narrating that opening passage.
Oh, wow.
The next mystery in this set, which would be the Tin Soldier, is only 5 minutes long. And the opening to the Lionized Lions is 30 seconds.
Oh wow.
So
They got a little more lazy as they went on.
I think the fact that was such a long collection of stuff, it's easy to miss things in and start
Yeah.
getting into let's start following leads.
That feeds into. There's a lot of people that think Sherlock Holmes that Doyle doesn't give you enough information, and that it's. My husband hates Sherlock Holmes because he's positive that it never gives you enough information to be able to solve it.
It feels like that to me. Like it really feels like that to me. And like I feel like I'm someone who could follow these things pretty well, but I never feel like I know. You know what I mean? Like you just pull something out of his butt, and I'm like, oh, can't watch any more Sherlock Holmes.
And that's what I appreciate about the
And I feel that way about Agatha Christie.
Well, I think the BBC reboot did a really nice job of, because there's always flashbacks. When Holmes says, here's how it happened, they always flash back to a thing that they showed you in the episode that you overlooked as unimportant. So at least the new ones are good.
Oh yeah, no, I haven't watched any of the new. Like it's just I think it was a movie or something I watched. And I'm just like, no, I can't follow it.
Okay, so next week we're gonna go back to D&D, right?
Yeah, that was the plan.
That's the plan.
I'm down for whatever. You know, like if you can't, you don't have time to put something together, I could do another
Phantasmophobia.
one of these.
It was very fun.